Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old Matthew Kearns is suing his former roommate, Shelley Baker, for the return of his belongings.
Order. All rise.
This case number 266 on the calendar, the matter of Kearns versus Baker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Kearns, how long were you and Miss Baker roommates?
Approximately 6 months, Your Honor.
Did you move into her home?
No, Your Honor.
She moved into yours? Or you moved in together?
The way that it happened, Your Honor, was I rented a two-bedroom condo with one of my friends at the time. About 3 months in, it was determined that we could no longer live together. The roommate at that time decided to just kind of pack up his stuff and move, leaving me to pay the full rent amount, which I could not do. The landlord gave me the ultimatum, basically, that I could either be evicted or pay the full amount, neither of which were acceptable to me. She came back slightly later and said, I have a friend. The friend was Miss Shelley Baker. Allow Miss Baker to live with you, then you can resume paying the normal rent amount. So
why did you need a place to stay?
I was in between homes. I was actually homeless for about 7 days. I had collected about $1,900, and Denver is the rental market there is bad.
How do you know
I needed like $2,400, so I had moved all my stuff into storage, and then I was homeless for a few. And then Jerry is a good friend of mine, the landlord, who is my landlord also. And she said,
just a second.
So move in.
The landlord is not only a friend of yours, but was your landlord in another premise?
She is my landlord right now, Your Honor. I still live there, and Mr. Kearns doesn't live there.
Do you have a roommate?
Yes.
Mr. Kearns, at some point, things did not go well between you and the defendant. How much into her tenancy did that happen?
Very shortly thereafter.
As soon as she moved in?
I would say probably 2 weeks to a month after that, it was determined that we would not live together peacefully.
When did you start to live there?
January 2016.
Is that right?
Yes, that sounds about right.
And you started to look for a new place somewhere in February, sometime in February?
Very, very shortly after Miss Baker moved in.
Fine, okay. So your problem is that you claim that Miss Baker either kept or disposed of some of your property. That's what your lawsuit is about. And Miss Baker had a motorcycle. What was the date that you moved out?
I started moving on March 30th, continued moving on March 31st.
And you had paid March's rent?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. The agreement was that I would be out by midnight on April 1st, which I had planned to do. However, Ms. Baker decided to lock me out of the apartment.
How many trips did you make back and forth to get your property?
3 to 5, I would say.
Let's say 5.
Okay.
And you have a car?
Correct.
What items did you leave behind?
The largest ticket item is going to be my California King bed set.
California King?
Very large bed.
The large bed.
A bed?
Huge bed.
Very large bed.
Oh, a king bed.
I had a large leather sofa, a small leather sofa, a matching leather ottoman, a dresser, an entertainment stand.
Just a second.
Okay.
And do you acknowledge that the furniture was the stuff that he left? He took...
Yes, he just left the heavier items, the bedroom items, basically. The couch and everything is in the garage. It's not part of the house. We have a garage also, and the couch, like he's got the cushions, I've got the couch, so it's all out in the garage. There is some of those items in the garage still.
Which items are in the garage?
The couch, the ottoman, the love seat, those 3 items.
What about the king bed?
That was removed when I got another roommate. So he was out 31st.
Fine. So the only thing that you disposed of was the king-size bed.
That's incorrect. He actually left several items. Like, here's his remote.
Listen to me. Some things that... This is not show and tell. Put that down.
No, but I mean...
Put it down. I'm talking. Pay attention.
Okay.
You say that you have everything with the exception of the king-size bed in your garage.
No, that's incorrect.
Then I misunderstood you. What do you have in the garage?
In the garage, I have miscellaneous kitchen items. I have...
Where is the sofa?
It's in the garage.
Well, where is the dresser?
That was removed out of the bedroom. I just needed to clear the bedroom for a new roommate.
Just a second. Shh. Just look at me.
Okay.
Bedroom. Where is the entertainment center?
That was removed when I had to get a new roommate.
When you say removed, what did you do with it?
Actually, at the instruction of the landlord.
No. You can't tell me what...
It was removed so I could allow room for a new roommate.
Miss Baker, I want you to listen to what I'm saying to
Okay.
you. Where did you remove it to?
Outside.
So you put the entertainment center.
Right.
What kind of an entertainment center was it?
I don't. It's
What kind
just
of
a
an
bedroom.
entertainment center was it?
It was similar to the dresser. It was black metal with a diamond plate design on it, like the stuff that you see in garages.
Okay.
The entertainment stand is obviously much larger than the dresser. It's meant to stereo and some add-on
Okay.
items like DVD
Now, I
players.
want you to tell me, sir, you pay rent on the 1st of the month, correct? So you paid March's rent.
Correct.
And you made 5 trips back and forth to pack up. You had
Roughly.
found a new apartment?
Correct.
And I would assume that by March 31st, you had made arrangements for a truck or a U-Haul to come back to pick up your large ticket items.
That is very correct.
And what happened when you got there with the U-Haul truck?
Miss Baker locked me out.
Now, what U-Haul place did you actually rent the truck from?
U-Haul, moving and storage of Green Mountain.
May I see, is that your contract with them?
It's an invoice.
I'd like to see it. Perfect. So I want you to tell me what happened when he arrived with the U-Haul.
He's under the interpretation that the door was locked. I'm actually deaf in one of my ears, Your Honor. I literally have a 75% loss in this ear. It's important what I'm going to say. So after he left, he didn't tell me he was getting a U-Haul that day. It was not vengeful. I actually fell asleep. He had been moving stuff for 2 days. I fell asleep, and I fell asleep on my good ear, so he must have knocked at the door. And I'm arm if I fall asleep on that ear. And I do have the doctor record that shows like a 75%
I'm not
loss.
interested in your doctor's record. March 31st, had the locks been changed, Mr. Kearns?
No, Your Honor. What happened was there were 2 doors. There was a standard door and then like a glass screen door. I did not have the key to the glass screen door, and that is the one that Miss Baker locked.
Why?
Oh.
Why didn't you have a key to that screen door?
If I recall correctly, there was no outside lock. But regardless, the fact remains I was never given a key to that screen door. I did contact the landlord at this point. The landlord lived 3 hours away from us, and she informed me that if I were
Oh, you can't, just a second.
Sure.
You can't tell me what the landlord informed you. Had you locked the screen door?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, you had absolutely no right to get rid of his stuff. He did present to me evidence that he had gotten a U-Haul on the 31st.
I would like to. Really, my full defense is I'm not the landlord. I only did
I don't
what
care.
was
You
instructed.
were the one who put the stuff outside.
After the landlord did her 10-day notice pursuant to the lease.
You were the one who put the stuff outside.
At the instruction of the landlord,
I
Your
don't
Honor.
know that. Is the landlord here?
I
I
can
don't know
show
that.
that I rented the space right afterwards.
don't care.
Or that she did.
I don't care.
Okay. I did remove the stuff
I don't
because I
care.
needed to get another room.
You keep saying it, but I'm totally
I'm
ignoring
not the
it.
landlord.
I'm totally
I wasn't even
ignoring.
his roommate.
Listen to me. I'm
Okay.
totally ignoring it.
I know that.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He purposely damaged my Harley Davidson, and I have the estimate. That's
Right.
all I'm interested in.
I have an email with
Good.
the landlord that states that,
Just,
I'm just saying that states
I don't
that
want you to
he would
just
be
say.
back.
I want you to tell me about the Harley.
And later today,
The plaintiff knew that there was cigarette smoke in the house.
What you said to him was, as an accommodation,
Yes.
we will smoke outside.
We'll limit the smoking.
And he says that didn't happen.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Matthew Kearns says his former roommate, Shelley Baker, owes for the return of his belongings. Shelley is countersuing for property damage.
Now, all I want is the bills for the furniture that you are claiming is worth $4,000. Okay, and where did you purchase the sofa from, sir?
The sofas were a gift from my mother.
Okay. Did you replace them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have the bills for replacement? Looked as if they were perfectly reasonable condition. Okay, great. The entertainment center, you didn't replace it, I assume.
The entertainment center was replaced. That is included in there.
In the $1,200?
Yes, from the
In the
American
$1,200.
Furniture, yes,
All right, that
that's
comes to $2,509. Both of those items, including the bed, the replacing of the
I
bed.
still have the couch and the love seat and the ottoman of that
Where are they?
damages. They're in the garage.
Except he replaced them.
He never came back to get his stuff.
$2,509. You can keep the couch. Now,
can I?
Let's get briefly to your alleged counterclaim.
Okay.
You want to tell me what you're suing him for?
Well, Your Honor, the reason he was evicted to start with, I would like to present this supplemental report. It's important. I was scared for my life.
Listen to me carefully.
How do I present this report to you?
Your counterclaim is that he purposely damaged my Harley Davidson, and I have the estimate. That's
Right.
all I'm interested in.
Okay.
Tell me when he did that and under
In
what
the 2 days that he did the 5 trips back and forth, and I allowed he was in there and had free will, he told me he would be back with the U-Haul on his next day off, and I have an email with the landlord that states that...
Just tell me about the Harley.
I'm going to, Your Honor. In between the 2 days that he had moved and the next day off, I went out to the garage, and every single one of my boxes was dumped upside down in the garage. All my personal pictures, all my antique dolls, all of my electronics had been pushed off the table. It was in complete shambles. And I go, oh my God, he literally trashed all of my stuff. And at that point, I became very fearful. And I told him that he needed to get...
Would you tell me about the Harley, please?
Yep. He told me that he needed to get a civil assist, is what I told him after he trashed my stuff. The Harley was knocked over. My pictures, my artwork was ruined.
Objection, Your Honor.
Just a second.
See?
All I want to know is about the Harley, because that's what's here in your counterclaim.
There was damage, Your Honor, to my Harley Davidson.
Show me. And the estimate for repair.
I don't have either one of those.
Well,
Here's
then your
the estimate
counterclaim's
for repair.
dismissed.
I apologize.
Go.
Gosh, I don't know. Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Okay, right on. Thank you. And I also have a text thing that shows that Matt did dump my stuff out by his words in the text.
I would like to see photo.
I didn't do it. I stopped myself. That is not the damage, Your Honor. I don't have that piece of paper in front of me.
Well, that's all I'm interested in seeing.
Right there's the estimate that will tell you, I guess.
The counterclaim's dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,509. We're done.
Wow.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The landlord asked me to get him out.
Judgment was fair today.
I fell asleep on my good ear.
She locked the glass door.
I did not hear the door knock. He did not tell me that he was getting a U-Haul that day and moving out, and I fell asleep.
For at least another good 5-10 years, I think I'll be living by myself only.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cuevas versus Cacciatore, step forward.
John Cuevas is suing his former landlord, David Cacciatore, for the return of his rent and security deposit.
Do you live with him?
Yes.
Great. Stand up. Tell me your last name.
McRory,
How long have you lived with Mr. Cacciatore?
almost 3 years.
Do you smoke?
Yes.
Does Mr. Cacciatore smoke?
Yes.
Now you can sit. Mr. Cuevas, you rented a room in the house that Mr. Cacciatore shares with Miss McRory.
Yes.
You gave them $1,200 in both rent and security.
Yes, ma'am.
And you moved in on what date?
Moved in on the 21st,
Of what month?
August.
Of this year?
Yes.
Did you?
Craigslist.
Where had you lived previous to that?
I lived with my girlfriend, but she had to move because of the fact that her brother died of cancer. She had to move in with her mother. And I was looking for a place, and I seen that, and since I was unemployed at the time, I checked out Craigslist, and I found it said $500. And when I pulled up, it went up $100 because I guess it was because of my car, you know.
So you saw the room that they were renting?
Yes.
Did you have any other conversation with them about the room?
No, Your Honor.
You moved out on the 22nd.
The next day, yes.
Tell me why you moved out.
Well, we had an agreement on smoking outside. He said he would smoke outside.
So you were aware that they smoked?
Right.
Who did you have the conversation with about smoking outside?
With David.
That'd be me, Your Honor.
With him?
Yes.
Did he tell you also that his girlfriend smoked?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
Said that they would make it accommodate for me to, you know, that they'll smoke outside from now on, which was crock-a-donkey dust.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He doesn't look like the kind of man that would take his TV, computer, clothes, hanging them up in the closet, getting it all ready, and then the next day say, well, you know what? I would like to do this all over again.
John Cuevas says his former landlord, David Cacciatore, broke his promise not to smoke in the house. He is suing for the return of his rent and security deposit.
Okay, so when you moved in your things, tell me what you moved in, Mr. Cuevas. You moved.
I moved in my clothes, my computers,
Did you
my
set
TV.
up the computers?
I didn't get to.
Did you set up the TV?
Yes.
So your clothes, your TV, your computer, anything else?
That
Everything
was it.
that you had?
I got
in your
everything. The next day, I got everything out.
But I'm talking about what you moved in. Clothes, computer, and TV. Anything else?
That was it.
You moved out the next day because?
Because it was overwhelming smoke.
Did you speak to Mr. Cacciatore about it?
Yes.
What did he say?
Said he would make a letter for his in-laws that happened to be there. He said they were just going to be there for a couple of days, but, you know, I didn't think that was going to
Just a
happen.
second. Did his in-laws smoke?
Yes, they did. Like chimneys.
Okay. Now, Mr. Cacciatore, what Mr. Cuevas wants is he wants his money back.
I understand, Your Honor.
And clearly, you had a conversation with him, because I read your answer. Clearly, you had a conversation with him about smoking.
Yeah, he knew I smoked prior.
Just a second.
Sure.
Clearly, you had a conversation with him about smoking.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's sort of an odd thing to have a conversation about unless it was your girlfriend smoke. Yes, she does. And if it's offensive to you in the house, then you don't rent the room.
Exactly.
Unless some assurance has been made to you that the smoking will be outside.
I agree 100%. Basically, the plaintiff knew that there was cigarette smoke in the house. While we were writing up the agreement, the contract, and so forth, I was actually smoking.
No, I understand that. He
yes.
said to me that he knew that you smoked.
Yeah.
That what you said to him was, as an accommodation,
Yes.
we will smoke outside.
Yeah, we'll limit the smoking.
As an accommodation,
Yes.
you're not going to limit your smoking. When you're home, you'll go outside if you're going to smoke.
Correct, Your Honor.
And he says that didn't happen when he moved in. You had your in-laws over, and they were smoking.
Well, my in-laws, they lived in the living room area at the time being because they were only there till their house got built. And they actually set up a little ashtray outside. There's a patio that leads right out their door, and they were smoking outside.
He gets his money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, he made it clear to you what his needs were. Needs would be met. He moved his property. I mean, he doesn't look. You haven't been psychiatrically hospitalized in the past 6 months, have you, Mr.
No,
Cuevas?
no, Your Honor.
You're not on any psychotropic medication, are you, Mr.
No, Your
Cuevas?
Honor. I'm not.
You're not receiving any disability for
No,
any
Your Honor.
psychiatric
No.
illness. You see, he doesn't look like the kind of man that would spend hours loading his stuff into his car, picking up his TV, undoing his computer, taking his clothes, taking his TV, computer, clothes, hanging them up in the closet, getting it all ready, and then the next day you say, well, you know what? I would like to do this all over again. I'm going to take my clothes out of the closet, unplug the TV from the wall, schlep it out to my car, unless you told him that he, in effect, would not be bothered by your smoke. Do you understand?
I understand completely.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,200. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was supposed to fix the car. Did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
And the city took it away.
It was not operable. I have pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Judge Judy.
The plaintiff told him I would limit the cigarette smoke in the house, which was done.
It didn't happen.
He said, we're going to become best buds. I'm going to be your brother.
We were going to go to karaoke together, you know.
Searching for his money back.
Well, I'm going to be aware of Craigslist. That's not going to happen no more.
A mother's sudden cross-country move.
You left the state of Florida.
Yes.
To go to what state?
Virginia.
So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia.
Will this dad ever see his daughter again?
You list a whole lot of things that portray the defendant as a very bad person.
He was in prison for 5 years.
You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich is suing the father of her child, Casey Fand, for the return of her belongings.
Order. All rise. Case number 217 on the calendar, the matter of Leftwich versus Fand. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Leftwich, you and the defendant have a child together, and you did live together for a period of time. It is your claim that the defendant removed your property without your permission from it.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that his name was on the lease to the apartment, that you had, in effect, left the apartment, that you were being evicted for non-payment of rent, I assume. He went into the apartment to secure the property that belonged to him and to his daughter. They have a daughter together.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has a counterclaim, and his counterclaim says that you filed 2 applications for orders of protection against him, both of which were false, both of which were dismissed and caused him to incur certain legal fees, and all in an attempt to have him removed from his daughter's life. So that's what the case is about. He has a counterclaim.
And also daycare expenses, Your Honor.
Well, I know that you're suing for daycare expenses. You're suing for daycare expenses for your child?
Her half. I paid all of it.
Well, that's all right. You could pay all of it.
Okay.
You can pay all of it. It's your child. If she takes the child out to a restaurant and buys a hamburger, you think that she should be able to charge you for half of that for your child?
It depends on who's paying for the dinner that night.
That's why we don't get messed up in those things. I would assume that right now, how old is your daughter?
18 months.
That your daughter is living with her mother?
No, ma'am.
She's living with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there an order of custody that gives you her
Yes,
to
Your
live with
Honor.
you? I'd like to see that. And along with the order of custody, did the court make an order of support against? I assume that the court will make an order of support against the non-custodial parent. And if you're going to be the custodial parent, Miss Leftwich will pay support for her daughter.
Your
What?
Honor, he's actually going to pay me support. And
For what?
It's 50-50 custody in the state of Florida.
Well, if it's 50-50 custody, why is he paying you support?
Because I make less than him.
I'd like to see the order. Was there an order entered subsequently to the 2nd of August, 2016?
There is another final order that...
Well, I'd like to take a look at it.
That's the
We
one I
have
was
the
looking
final judgment August 10th.
August 10th. I'd like to see that.
And Mr. Fan, even though we've had the final judgment for 50-50 custody, he refuses to actually let me have
See this one?
my half with the child. So
Did you
That's
remove
not
the
true,
child
Your
from the
Honor.
jurisdiction of Florida? Did you attempt to remove the child from the jurisdiction of Florida?
no.
The 2 of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The
Yes,
child.
ma'am.
Okay, let's get down to
Yes.
it. The 2 of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The child was born in Florida.
That's correct.
And there came a time when you left the state of Florida.
Yes.
On what date did you leave the state of Florida?
I left April 19th. Yes, ma'am.
You left to go to what state?
Virginia.
When you arrived in Virginia, you had family in Virginia.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Who was in Virginia?
My parents, my siblings, my grandmother. She was
Parents,
in the hospital.
siblings, grandma. Did you, at that time, when you were visiting with your family, because that's what you say you were doing, correct?
Yes.
Did you file any legal action in the state of Virginia?
Not at that time.
Between April 19th, 2016, and August 2nd, did you file any action in the state of Virginia?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you filed and on what date.
I filed an injunction, a protective order injunction.
You filed for a protective order.
Yes,
on what
ma'am.
date?
That would have been the end of June 29th.
Just a second. So were you in Virginia the months of April, May, and June? Pay careful attention.
ma'am.
So you never came back to the state of Florida in the months of April, May, and June?
No, that's incorrect.
Well, did you come back?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
We had a court date on May 20th.
May 20th, and that
Yes.
was an action in the state of Florida
Yes, ma'am.
brought by
Okay.
the return of the child from the state of Virginia to the state of Florida, to the home state. Listen, I did family court work for a long time. So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia. He filed in the state of Florida an order directing you to bring the child home to the child's home state. And after you received that, you filed an injunction in the state of Virginia. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct, Your Honor, but I was not found, guilty.
I didn't ask you whether you were found guilty. I didn't ask you if you were found guilty of anything. I'm just looking at what's going on. You see, I've been around this block.
Yes.
So after there was an order in the state of Florida for you to return the child to the state of Florida, you went back to Virginia because you said you were there, and you filed for an order precluding him from having, I'm going to read it, from having contact with the child. Is that right?
And my cat.
I don't care about your cat. Now, I see that you list a whole lot of things dating back to November 15th that portray... Just a second. What I want to know is, and this was filed on the 28th day of June, after the court in Florida ordered you to return to Florida with the child. That would be a yes or a no?
I'm not sure which
Well,
document
do you
you're
have an
looking at.
order from the state of Florida or a court date? You filed, I assume, with your family, you went to see a lawyer in Virginia.
Your Honor.
Just listen to me. I'm talking. I assume you went to see a lawyer in the state of Virginia.
I did.
Of course. Okay. So on the 23rd of May, the court granted the father's order that neither one of you could remove the child from Palm Beach County.
That's correct.
And then, despite that order, you did, in fact, remove the child from Palm Beach County and went back to Virginia, where you filed on the 28th of June
Yes, ma'am.
for an order precluding him from coming near you, the child, anything.
Your
Now,
Honor,
I would have... Just a second. I'm not getting into that. Virginia ultimately did with this protective order. Did the judge grant you a protective order or dismiss this case?
He granted the protective order for me.
Permanent. Based upon these allegations, if I were a family court judge, I would grant you ex parte, without him being there, a temporary order of protection.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Temporary order of protection, just based upon the terrible allegations that you make here. The judge in Virginia, I don't see anywhere around here that anybody made the judge in Virginia aware of the Florida court's order precluding you from removing the child from Palm Beach County. I don't see anything in here about that. You understand where I'm going?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I ultimately want to know, I'll get to you in a minute. It looks like there is some semblance of knowledge here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to know what the court in Virginia ultimately did with your protective order. Did you have a trial?
No, ma'am. He did not get the protective order in Florida.
What happened with this protective order?
I didn't even go because of the paternity.
So it was dismissed?
Yeah, I didn't go.
So it was dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
I don't want to hear about your cat, because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment, what arrangements did you make him with home with?
I was only supposed to be gone for like a week.
I don't care.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich says the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them. Casey is countersuing for child care and legal expenses.
Now, did you ever file a protective order against him in the state of Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
It would have been November 29th.
November 29th?
Of 2015.
I would like to see that.
I don't have a copy with me.
November 25th.
I didn't know that we were here for all the paternity. I was here for my stuff. So.
You mean you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim?
No, ma'am.
Did you serve her with a copy of your counterclaim
Yes,
for legal expenses? I'd like to see a copy of that.
That wasn't even in his counterclaim.
That actually just came in the mail the day I for by her roommate. I do not have, this is the order that I did with the police receipt for getting it served, but that order actually came in the mail the day I left to come here.
On what date did you leave Florida?
yesterday.
And you received no...
My roommate signed for it. I never got it. I have no idea what his counterclaim is even. I don't...
So if you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim, I'm not going to hear it today.
I didn't.
I'm not going to hear his counterclaim today. He's free to refile that in Palm Beach County if he wishes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Now, what you're asking for is a return of your property. Now, both of you were on the lease of this apartment, I assume. You left the apartment on April 19th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like you to show me proof of rent for April, May, and June in the apartment.
I have January, February. He paid March.
I'm talking about April, May, and June. When you left the apartment, his name is on the lease, as well as yours, but you were living there.
Your
Now,
Honor, the lease was up August 2015, so the lease had ran out, so I was on month to month.
Great. So, in September?
2015.
Okay, so he moved out in September.
That's correct, right after the lease was up.
Fine, and you stayed with the child?
I did.
I would like to see proof that you paid rent when you were in Virginia.
I was with my parents.
So, is what you're telling me, nobody paid rent?
No.
Is what you said, yes, that is correct, nobody paid rent?
No, ma'am.
Who paid the rent?
For April, May, and June? Nobody paid April, May, and June because I was told by the landlord.
No, you can't tell me what the landlord told you.
Oh, okay.
Judge.
Okay.
So, listen to me. If you didn't pay April, May, and June when you were in Virginia, then the landlord clearly was going to evict you, which is what he says. And since his name had been on the lease, that's when he went into the apartment.
That's incorrect.
Show me.
This was the eviction notice that the landlord sent to me.
May I see it,
that
please?
was dated April 27th.
I'd like to see it.
I had just
a
gotten...
second. Just a
Okay.
second. Okay. Well, the end of April, they had not received any check for rent from
That's
you.
correct.
Your stuff was there. Just a second. Your stuff was there.
That's correct.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
Well, because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment.
That was clearly not my... That was clearly
You left
not
April
what I was
19th.
doing.
What arrangements did you make
I was only
with
supposed
whom?
to be gone for like a week, which I left a key with my neighbor. She was an elder lady. She had my telephone number.
You were gone for April, May,
but
and
I was
June.
only supposed to be gone for about 2 weeks.
I don't care. First it was a week, now I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You made this baby, and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving her mad.
She did to me, Your Honor.
Your
What?
Honor, this man put me through living
Just a
hell.
second.
I'm
Do you
done.
understand what I'm saying to you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich claims the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've always went a month without paying rent, and the landlord would let me go, like, for instance, January, I went a whole month without paying rent.
Listen to me. I have it. The landlord demanded possession of the property.
Yeah.
Because you weren't paying rent. That was in April. You didn't pay in May, and you didn't pay in June.
Right.
Okay. Now, what years? Did you live together in this apartment for about 2 years?
No, ma'am.
How long did you live together in this apartment?
1 year.
1 year. Did you live together in another place prior to that?
My place, yes.
You lived in your place?
Yes, ma'am.
When you moved from your place into this apartment, did you take your furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which furniture did you take?
Mattress,
Your mattress?
dressers, things like
No. Don't take dressers. I want you to tell me exactly what you took from your apartment into this new place.
Okay. Rugs, bed.
Okay, what else?
I guess pots, pans.
Okay, I don't care about that. Rugs and a bed. What
chairs.
else?
What kind of bed?
No, is it a bed that the two of you used?
Yes, of
The
course.
two of you used that bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was your bed?
Right.
Okay. Shh, just a second. So I'm not interested in the things that were purchased subsequently. child's things that were purchased subsequently. According to you, he makes more money than you did. So unless you can establish that you personally bought those things for your daughter.
I can, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
He was in prison for 5 years.
Go ahead.
While I was out pretty much driving a bus.
Just listen to me. You said you were living together in this apartment for a year.
Yes.
If you were living in this apartment for a year together, he left but your daughter was born and your daughter was living in the apartment with you.
That is correct.
That is correct. So now you're going to show me proof that during that period of time when you moved into this apartment, according to you, with a bed and some rugs, pots and pans. I don't get into pots and pans. Okay. So I want to see proof that you, because your complaint is that aside from this bed, which I will ask him about, I want to see proof that you personally purchased the child's furniture and anything else that you're claiming.
Your Honor, I can't. We had a 2-drawer file in our bedroom. September, when he left, he took the top file with all of our receipts, bank accountments, and things like that. And
You take this up with the family court judge. Your case is dismissed. We understand each other? Take it up with the family court judge. When the family court judge issues an order of support, whoever the order of support is going to be entered against. But I'm going to suggest this to the two of you. You've wisely or unwisely made a child together. You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent. He would not have that right to take the child away from you. That's what the court said to you. It said you can't remove the child from the child's home state. That's what the child said. And Florida is the home state, and Florida will make an order of custody because that's released the child to another jurisdiction, and then you've got to go find them. That's why the states cooperate with each other in directing that the children be returned to their home state. I assume that the lawyer explained that to you. And if the lawyer didn't explain that to you, I'm explaining it to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the order of custody is going to be resolved. The only thing that's going to have to be addressed is who's going to pay support and in what amount and to whom. And regular, consistent timetable so this child doesn't become a pawn. This baby's only 18 months old. Right now, she doesn't go to school, but she will. And then it's going to have to be a more sensible order because unless the two of you can cooperate with each other, an order of joint custody is going to be impossible. So I'm going to suggest that you made this baby and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving her mad.
She did to me, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this man put me through living
Just a
hell.
second.
I am not. Don't talk to me anymore. I'm done.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I do.
You have a child, whether you like each other or not. That's totally irrelevant to courts, whether you like each other or not. Responsible enough to...
Your Honor, he put the child on Rick.
I'm done.
Like, I'm...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I went through a whole year of living hell with this man.
I left her because of all of her lies.
I only went up to visit, and he had me evicted from my apartment.
She threatened me every month with leaving with the baby, which is why I hired an attorney in the first place.
I want this man to leave me alone. I am done. Today, that was it.
This is all about the child right now, and that's my number one concern.
I've always worked with cars. I'm more of a tomboy.
A stay-at-home mom's side business.
She was supposed to fix the car, and you promised to pay her for parts and labor.
But
she didn't give you any money. You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
is their situation beyond repair?
Did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
It was not operable. I have pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Laurie Danielson is suing Sarah Kolosky for the value of her car. And
all rise. It's case number 249 on the calendar in the matter of Danielson versus Kolosky.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Danielson, how do you know Miss Kolosky?
My best girlfriend, her mother, and I've known each other for 43 years.
And what kind of work do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mother.
How do you support yourself?
My significant other, he pays all the bills. He has a good job, but he's always gone, so it's better for me to stay home.
What do you know about being a mechanic?
I've always worked with cars. I'm more of a tomboy. And so with my father and friends and family, I always try to work on cars, and it just became a love of mine.
So, Ms. Danielson, you bought a used car, a 20-year-old car. You bought it off a lot. According to your complaint, you spent $2,200 on the car.
Correct.
You did that in May of this year, and shortly thereafter, the car overheated and was no longer drivable, according to you. So, according to your complaint, you gave the car to Miss Kolatsky when the car stopped running. She was supposed to fix the car, and you promised to pay her for parts and labor. On what date did you have the car towed to her house?
I believe it was June 28th when she picked me up from my house, went out to the dealership, and towed it from there.
Now, did Miss Kolatsky tow the car back to her house, or did you have a towing company do it?
Nope, she said flatbed, and they towed it for nothing from my house to the dealership and back to her house.
Okay, now, what your complaint is as follows. At some point, your car was towed because it was deemed abandoned. It was on the street.
Correct.
And you believe that that's Miss Kolatsky's fault, and you weren't able to get the car out of...
Actually, Your Honor, I have it from the city that I had until August 4th to collect the car. I was there on August 1st, letting her know I would be on or...
Just a second, I don't care.
Okay.
Now, did you have the car on the street or on your property?
It was still on my property.
Until what date did it remain on your property?
Until the 1st, in which I had let her know that it had to be removed.
Just a second. Until August 1st.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
if it was on your property, who gave you notice that the car had to be moved?
It was actually a city violation. It was an ordinance. Vehicles that are not registered to that property can only remain on there within 48 hours. And so I tried to get an extension as much as possible. I actually have photos of the
Don't show me
vehicle on my
photos.
property as well.
Don't show me photos.
Yes.
Listen to what I want.
I'm sorry.
I want the letter from the city indicating you had to have the car moved.
Yes, ma'am. There's all these.
I don't want all of this. I want the letter from the city that
Here,
said...
there's actually 3 of them.
Great. I'll see you all.
Okay, that second one. And then here's the third one. And then I do also have this.
Okay, so you got your first notification when they conducted an inspection of your property, and that was on July the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one of your neighbors must have complained to the city that this old car was someplace.
Actually, the whole entire neighborhood was kind of being swept. It was just kind of a cleanup thing, yes.
You were first noticed for this on July 20th for an inspection that was conducted on the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want you to show me the communication that you had indicating that the car had to be moved by July 27th, because your first date was July 22nd. Then they gave you an extension, evidently, of that. When
Yes,
they
and
did
then
it
I
again.
do also have this as well.
All listen to what I want.
Yes.
Put the paper down.
Okay.
What I want is the communication between you and the plaintiff indicating that the car had to be moved. Based on the
Unfortunately-
first one.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I do not have any text messages. My phone, my cell phone, actually the hard drive crashed, and I just purchased one 2 days ago.
Okay, everybody always has that problem.
That's definitely understandable.
Now, when was the first time that you were...
First.
Was the first communication you had?
First communication that I had to get it out of there, $700, otherwise she would tow my car within 2 hours, and I have it on a text message.
I'd like to...
Ma'am, may I add something?
No.
I have 70 on here, so I gotta find the right one.
She has the paperwork prior to that date saying...
No, I do not.
It's on the very top. She had said that she
Here's the one I
had the
received.
same exact paperwork.
I'd like to see it.
That's what I
She
got.
has it right there. And that's one I personally gave to her, ma'am, which is prior to that
Miss
date.
Danielson, listen to me very carefully.
Yes.
Are you listening?
Yes.
I want to see the first time you were notified by the defendant that there was a problem with the car being on her property was on what date?
August 1st.
Ma'am, the date on there, obvious, it does
Show
of
me,
course say...
show me.
The one she just provided with you, it says the 27th. The actual date was the 27th.
No, that says that this was to, I assume, your boyfriend.
Yes.
This doesn't say it went to her. Do you have proof that it went to her as well? Had you registered the car? Did the car have plates? Did the car have some mechanism of identification so that you could be sent a notice that the car had to be moved?
Yeah, I got the title. It was in my name, everything.
Well, are you telling me that you Brooklyn Park?
No, I did not. I got that copy from Sarah City, and I had to tell the Ford to get it off of her property.
Ma'am.
And that was the first time I heard it.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Now I want you to show me what proof you have that she was notified before August 1st.
All I have as far as that is the fact that I provided her with one of my papers that said that the vehicle had to be removed by the 1st. And she had even came over to my house on the 28th promising to pay me some of the money for the work that I have done so I can ensure the vehicle was off my property by the 1st.
By the 4th.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that the car was on your property, you tried to get some payment, she didn't give you any money.
No.
And then you moved the car to the street?
No, ma'am.
Well, did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
You moved it to the street?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
The 1st.
And on the 1st, they came and put...
I have
Just a second.
Okay.
They came and took the car.
I actually have a police report in regards to this, where they actually had attempted to contact her. The city of Brooklyn Park actually removed it.
I would like to see it. From your property or
No,
from the
ma'am,
street?
from the street.
Okay, so you moved it to the street? Well, that's what I said.
Yes, ma'am.
You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
On the 4th, yes.
It's right there. Whoops.
It was impounded on the 3rd?
Yes,
Okay, and it was on the street. Did you tow the car to the street or move it to the street?
I drove it once it was operable.
It was not operable. I have it. Pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Yes, those pictures were actually taken, I believe, on the 28th when she had came to my residence.
There's no such word.
I'm
They
sorry.
were taken. Pictures
Sorry.
were taken.
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Okay, now, you moved the car to the street
Yes.
on the 1st of August. When you moved the car to the street,
Yes.
did you take out any parts that you had put in which had not been paid for by the plaintiff?
No, ma'am.
So the car was capable of being started and moved.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe you. How much money had you invested in the car?
Approximately $200.
And you went to the plaintiff at the end of July and asked her for some money.
I had been asking since the beginning.
You went to her, according to you, on the 28th and asked her for some money. That's what you told me a moment ago.
Yes, ma'am, when
What
she
did
came
say?
to my home.
I thought you said you went to her home.
No, ma'am. To my home to review exactly what I had done and observed everything, and she was ecstatic.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to finish this very quickly. We're going to either finish it painlessly or painfully.
Yes, ma'am.
So just answer my questions.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They told her not to drive the vehicle unless the coolant was full. She did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No.
And later today,
You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
I let the dog approach her dogs.
And one of her dogs lunged at your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
And that's the story.
Correct.
Good. Just a second.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Laurie Danielson says Sarah Kolaski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
Now, she came to your house. Did she bring any money with her?
She was supposed to bring $300.
Did she
ma'am.
bring any
No.
money with her? The
No, ma'am.
answer is no. From the date she brought you the car on June 28th until August 1st, had she given you any money? No. And my question to you is, were you supposed to give her money as her work progressed so that she could buy parts and pay for her labor?
I told her that I would give her the money once I saw the itemized bill, and she never showed me an itemized bill. She showed me a picture of a text of a total bill only, and I asked her for the itemized bill so I could pay for the parts. And I never was shown an itemized bill.
What about her labor?
We hadn't come up to a conclusion yet of how much. All I did was get a text message on August 1st saying I owe $700. Otherwise, within 2 hours, the car would be towed.
Ma'am, if you were able to scroll through that, you would see that she came to my home prior to that.
I'm not listening to you.
And that she was supposed to give
I'm
us
not
money.
listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this says you pushed it in the street.
No, ma'am.
That's on July 31st. Hard to see, but I pushed it in the street, and then you say, laugh out loud, and then there's some curse word.
Yes.
That's what it says.
Yes.
Not drove it in the street, you pushed it in the street.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But on the 1st, it was operable. I removed it off my property because I had a siphoning issue in my neighborhood, and they had actually gotten my vehicle 3 different times since her vehicle was on my property, and that's an additional reason why I wanted it off so bad.
I understand. I understand your problem.
Yes, ma'am.
But you have a responsibility once the car is on your property to see. You were frustrated because you didn't get any money from her on the 31st, and you were going to start to be fined $200 a day for every day that the car remained on the property, because that's what it says in here.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're really responsible for her car getting towed.
I did let her know that it was off my property.
Show me.
It just said on the 31st, the vehicle was not on my property. So she knew it was no longer on my property. So she would have to find a way to bring it home.
Okay, great. How much did you pay for the car?
I think you have it up there.
It's $2,200.
Ma'am, do you mind if I add something? Unfortunately, due to her negligence of the vehicle, she was told she could not drive the vehicle because the radiator was bad. They told her not to drive the vehicle unless the coolant was full. She did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence. They offered her $500. That's all her vehicle was worth to them at that point in time.
Who offered her $500?
The dealership, for a trade-in value.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No, that is not true. The coolant was filled. I still have the coolant in my...
Is it true that the dealership said that they were prepared to give you $500 trade-in for the car?
Correct, if I could buy another car, but I had no money because I took a loan out on this one that I'm still paying for that I don't have car of.
Okay, would you return this to her, please? Okay.
Judge Judy continues.
I say friendly, and people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me, and I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Laurie Danielson says Sarah Kolaski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
I have to assess the value of the car. Now, she paid $2,200 for the car, but the car, when you brought it to her, was not working. So it's no longer worth $2,200. I don't know what it's worth. If the dealership offered you $500, maybe that's what it's worth. It's certainly not worth what you paid for it, because when you paid for it, you drove it off the lot, correct?
Correct.
And in order to get it to her house, she had to come and tow it. Also correct. So it was not drivable. So it was really worth actually nothing at that point, except the $500 that the dealership offered to give to you.
That's fine. I just wanted to show you these pictures.
I don't want to see any pictures.
That's fine.
I don't want to see any
I also
pictures.
have a KBB of her value of the vehicle.
Which is what?
Her vehicle was only worth approximately $344.
Okay, well, they offered her $500 for it. That's what it's worth. Okay, now, I don't know what they're coming after you for. They probably auctioned off the car for, okay. And you're not entitled to take her car and push it onto the street, because when you take the responsibility of a car, you have to maintain its safety. And if you had towed it back to her house and said, now it's on your property and I'm going to sue you for my parts and labor, for whatever you put into the car, you could do that.
Yes,
but you can't take a car and push it out on the street.
But it had to be removed unless I was going to be financially
the plaintiff
responsible.
for the amount of $500.
Ma'am, I spent money on her vehicle.
You shouldn't have pushed it out on the street.
Oh my God, whatever.
Parties are excused. You may step off.
I believe that since I spent money and I spent time rebuilding this woman's engine.
She was going to help me out, and she gets good deals on parts and everything.
I should have been reimbursed. I spent a whole month working on her car.
And I told her either way, one way or another, I make sure that she got...
When I have kids to worry about, I took time out of my life for her car, and I just think it's ridiculous.
Money for her labor and her time.
Never give family favors.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Carroll versus Farr. Step forward.
Fiona Carroll is suing fellow dog owner Linda Farr for vet bills resulting from a dog attack during a hike.
Mr. Carroll, were you in fact holding the leash on your dog?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
Then why don't you step over here? You and your wife were walking your dog on a leash.
And I had my 2 dogs, one sitting and one laying down next to me.
Okay, so you were standing?
I was standing.
Were you in front of your house?
We were on a fire road, and I have a picture of the fire road that we were standing on.
I'd like to take a look at it. And your dogs were both leashed? You were standing because you were letting his dog pass?
Correct. I was coming out of the canyon from a hike with my dogs, and they were coming down the fire road.
Okay, so you stopped.
Is
that correct?
It is
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so she stopped.
Correct.
And you were walking.
Correct.
With your dog on a leash.
Correct.
Your dog went over to, according to your wife, to sniff one of their dogs.
Yeah, I didn't.
Is that what happened?
Exactly what happened. I didn't feel any. She didn't
I
make
don't
any
care what you
commands or
feel.
anything. Or
I don't care what you feel. It's not important to me. You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
exactly. I let the dog approach her dogs.
Right. And one of her dogs lunged at your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
And that's the story.
Correct.
Good. Shh, just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com.
Now, Miss Farr is not responsible for your vet bills. Both dogs were leashed. She knew enough to stop and let you pass. For whatever reason, she held her dogs. There was no language between the two of you.
No, she was having a conversation with my wife. She didn't give me any warnings or anything.
She doesn't have to give you a warning.
That her dogs.
She doesn't have to give you a warning. Before you let your dog go up to sniff her dog, you're supposed to say, friendly?
The dogs had played together
just
before.
Just a second.
So.
If they played together before, then she certainly had no notice that one of her dogs was going, if they played before. But before I have a little dog, and she's very playful. And when she passes another dog, I pull her back, and I say, friendly? And sometimes people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me. And I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
Her dog lunged. She was standing here, and from the side of her all the way over. Our dog was not close enough to hurt her. He had the dog on the leash.
No. What he said to me, madam, was, and that's what it says in the complaint, that your dog went over to... We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it was a good decision, and my dogs did nothing except what I asked them to do, which was to sit next to me and wait till they passed.
Our dog moved towards her dog, and her dog lunged in front of her and ripped.
And their dog did lunge at my dog towards me, and that's when my dog jumped up to protect me.
Ripped a huge hole out of our dog's chest.
I would feel bad if any dog gets injured, because I love all dogs, so for that reason, yes, but I wasn't responsible for that.
And I was worried if it was a small child, what if that child had reached out towards her dog? It could have been a horrible situation.
My dog's around children all the time, grandchildren, all that. My dog is completely safe.
He's okay. You know, it took 3 months for it to heal, but he's okay now.
I'm glad our dog's doing better, and I wish them all the best.
A handyman's bargain remodel.
You hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work he did. Surprise.
But there was more. This mom wasn't happy.
She said he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
And this ex-con gets concerned.
She took out a restraining order against me to start off with.
Just got out of prison.
I did fall into using drugs. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli is suing handyman Matthew Lewis for a refund of his fee, property damage, and lock change fees.
Order. All rise. It's case number 176 on the calendar in the matter of Martinelli versus Lewis.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Martinelli, you hired the defendant to do some work in your house. According to what I read, you had seen him doing some work cleaning out the gutters in a neighbor's house. You liked the work that he was doing. You hired him to do the same work in your house because the quote that you had gotten was substantially higher to do the same work that Mr. Lewis said he would do for you for $60.
$60, yes, ma'am.
He did the work. You were satisfied with the work. you said you had another project for him to do in your house, and that was to replace a sink and vanity in your bathroom. And you made a price with him to do that work. The price was to do for the $100, Miss Martinelli.
He said he would, the new one was in the garage. He would take out the old one and put the new one in.
And did that require any plumbing?
Yes, well, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you going to hire another plumber to do that?
No, he said he could do it.
Well, that's fine. Well, that's quite a savings. So you see someone who is cleaning out gutters on a ladder, you like the work that they're doing, and you know how expensive it would be if you had to hire a plumber to come in to do that work. It probably would have cost you 5 or 6 times that.
Correct.
So you hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work he did. Surprise. Surprise, surprise. Okay, now you're suing him. And you're suing him for a whole bunch of things. You say, A, he broke the marble top. He dropped it and broke the marble top for the vanity, and he didn't finish the job, forcing you to hire someone else to come in and do the job.
Correct.
All I want to know is, tell me about the marble top. Did it come in a separate box?
It was one box, the vanity and the marble top, and I asked him, I have a dolly. You can use the dolly to carry it in, and he said, no, I can carry it in on my own. And he lugged it in and then dropped the box.
Okay. And Mr. Lewis, do you see what a fair person I am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair. That is my middle name.
I was carrying the box. You could hear a piece jingling on the inside, and I said, that doesn't sound good. There was a piece rattling inside the box. When we opened the box, she was with me. We opened the box. There was a foam insert on each corner. There was a piece of foam insert that was not there. When we took it out of the box, it had a chip. She said, is it on the inside corner or outside corner?
She was there when you opened the box?
She was right next to me, in her living room.
Where had you purchased this from?
Home Depot.
How did you get it home?
That was transported in my daughter's car.
By whom?
My daughter and myself.
And was it in a crate?
It was in a big, heavy box, yes, ma'am.
Had you opened the box before Mr. Lewis arrived?
No.
Did you see him drop the box? Look at me.
Yes.
Did you see him drop the box?
No, I did not see him even open the box.
Did you see him drop the box?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know whether the marble top was cracked or not cracked before you brought it home?
It wasn't jingling. There was no noise in it.
I don't care.
Okay.
You didn't see him drop the box?
No.
Did he remove the old vanity?
Yes.
Did
now,
he
I did see him put the box down on the floor like that.
Ms. Martinelli,
but not.
Well, now you're changing your story. So now I know that you're as sweet a lady as sweet a lady as you look. The first story that you gave me was not truthful. You're talking here about he dropped the box. You told him to use a dolly. He didn't use a dolly. He said, I can carry it. And then you lied to me. All you have to do is lie to me once. He says you were there when he opened the top.
When he put the box on the floor, he dropped the box.
He
opened it up.
That's not a drop.
And it was cracked.
Okay. So far, he owes you nothing. I'm going to repeat my question. Did he disassemble the old vanity and put it in your garage?
I had already left to go to Home Depot to get the replacement. Yes, he did, while I was gone.
The answer is yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you came home?
When I came back, he was in the bathroom, and he had already taken out the old vanity, and, you know, it was a mess. And he carried in the other one, and meanwhile, I just let him do his job. I wasn't looming over him.
Just tell me what happened on that date. So you got it out of the car. Now, your daughter wasn't with you, so I assume...
She was there.
Oh, so who took the new top out of the car?
I don't recall if it was myself or all of us.
I took it out, Your Honor.
So he removed the vanity, the old one, disconnected it.
Right.
And took the new vanity and brought it into the house.
Correct.
Right now, he's earned his $100, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go. What's next?
So basically...
Not basically. I don't want to hear basically,
okay.
Miss Martinelli. I want to hear what's next. I want to hear why you think you have a claim against him.
Well, he was texting me. He would be...
Not texting you. I want to know what happened.
He didn't finish the job.
Just a second. Now he's got... And what happened next?
He had emergencies. He said he had to leave to go pay someone he owed $100 to.
Fine. At what time was this?
This would be 7:26. He needed more...
No.
On 7:25?
7:25. It
would have been in the afternoon.
Well, you went back to Home Depot. That takes time.
Yes, ma'am.
He takes the thing out. You go to Home Depot. You come back. At what time did he say, I have to leave now? I brought it in to the bathroom. Now I have to leave. I have to go pay somebody money. I would like my $100, which you gave him. What time? If you can't remember, I'm going to ask him.
It would be later in the afternoon.
So later in the afternoon. Give me a time later. 4:30, 5 o'clock?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
What time?
She actually gave me the money. It was on the Sunday. The job was started on a Monday. The reason the job did not get complete, she told me that she was donating the old one, so don't break it. I took it out on a dolly, the bottom, put it in her garage, very neat, on a box off to the side. The reason the job didn't get complete, all that was left to be done was 2 pieces of trim.
I'm asking you a question. What time did you leave and say, I have to go?
Well, I didn't leave because of an emergency. She didn't have the plumbing fixtures to finish the job. She said she was going to pick those up either that night or tomorrow.
Okay, so you left because she didn't have the plumbing fixtures. Exactly what plumbing fixtures did she need, Mr.
When you
Lewis?
put the faucet in, the sink into the cold water, that's the only plumbing that you needed to do on this job. The new one had the top, but there were no connectors, the connectors that would run from the sink to the outlet in the wall.
You're shaking your head as if that is correct. So you did not have the required plumbing to complete the installation.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so he left.
Yes.
Now, in between that time, what did you do?
He sent me to Lowe's to get the piece of...
He didn't send you to Lowe's. How old are you?
Well, he said go to Lowe's down the street.
Just a second. He said you don't have the right fixtures, the same place you went. You can go to Lowe's. He doesn't care where you go. Either you go to Lowe's, you go someplace.
He just said
this
Lowe's.
is what you need.
Right.
And what happened next?
He told me what to get. He explained what the piece of the pipe was.
All right, so keep going.
So I went back to the house, and I had the piece of the pipe, and then he called...
So you had the piece of the pipe.
Right.
So now he's waiting, according to you, he's waiting for you now twice because you didn't have things. You went back once to Home Depot and once to Lowe's to get the pipes.
Yes.
Okay, now, let me hear you.
So I waited for him. He said he couldn't do it the rest of the evening. It would be another day.
So he wasn't planning to work at night.
Right.
For the $100 that you were paying him. So he left.
Yes.
In the interim, what happened, Miss Martinelli? Now you have the pipe, and he's coming back. There's no question he was coming back, because even you don't deny he was coming back. In the interim, you want me to surmise what it was. I suggest that you be truthful with me.
Absolutely.
Great. So far, you haven't been 100% truthful with me. I want you to tell me what happened between the time he left because you didn't have the right plumbing fixtures and the next couple of days. Well, let's have it.
The walls were all damaged and all the baseboards and everything was ripped out. And I got so many texts that he had all these multiple emergencies and couldn't come back to finish the job.
Just a second. I would like to see the days that he had multiple emergencies, that he couldn't come back and fix the job.
55 texts, 12 calls, and there's the Verizon letter stating I have a basic phone that...
I'm not interested in this. I want to see exactly what it says.
I have a basic phone, so it doesn't allow me to do that on my phone. He just kept calling with one excuse after the other.
You want to tell me what this is all about? Because I'm not getting it from her. I'm not getting it from her at all.
The only thing that I have come up with, I was shocked that we were even here.
Just a second. Let's go back. When were you scheduled to go back to finish the job?
That was what was odd. I responded to her 3 times. We responded through text because she didn't answer the landline. Sometimes she'd be outside. She said texting is the best way to get in touch with me. I texted her 3 times saying I can be there tomorrow between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
Do you have that on your...
Don't save my texts. I do not have them. I had basically sent her 3 texts. I said I'm getting ready to walk my dogs. If I don't answer or respond, I'll call you when I get back. I sent another text. I haven't heard from you. Nothing.
She had paid you the $100.
I had been paid.
Just a second, you had been paid?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have any texts?
I have a basic phone. That's just the list of all the texts.
This doesn't help.
Inundated with texts.
Okay, fine. So you paid him $100, and for the $100, this is what he did. He took out the old sink and the old vanity. He waited for you because it was broken. So you went to Home Depot. He came back. He took it out of the car, put the old vanity outside and stored it. He put the new vanity inside, and you didn't have the correct plumbing. You went back to Lowe's, whether it's that day or the next day. You may be confused, I'm not sure. According to you, you went back the same day to get the new plumbing, and he couldn't wait to work that evening. And then he never came back to finish the job. And since he never came back to finish the job, you're suing him for $1,049.
He called and said he needed more money.
Oh, now you have that. This is a new memory that you have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds and made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good.
From
So she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli says handyman Matthew Lewis owes for a refund of his fee, property damage, and locks. Matthew is countersuing for a false restraining order, lost wages, and harassment.
Oh, this is a new memory. So now he said, I want more money to come and finish the job.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said no.
Yes.
So?
I never heard back. He was
good. Then you hired somebody else. He said, I want more money. One thing is to take out a thing and put it in, and I can do that 1, 2, 3 if all the plumbing things are right, but it wasn't 1, 2, 3. You had a broken unit that he had to wait for until you went and got a new one. I assume they gave you a new one, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I assume they gave you a new one. You didn't tell them that your handyman dropped it. You said it was broken in the package. I assume that that's what you said to Home Depot, because if you didn't say that to Home Depot, they would not have replaced it for free. Right. So when you told me he dropped it and broke it, you told a different story to the Home Depot people. Right. With the same big eyes, the same look. Right. Then he waited for you. You came back with it, and you put it in, and I said, where are the rest of the plumbing pieces? All this is for $100. Taking it in the car, taking it out of the car, storing it in the other garage. Now he says, this was supposed to back to finish this. It's going to cost you more money. You say no. Now I'd like to know what you're suing him for. So you hired somebody else to finish it.
He didn't do it correctly. It was damaged.
No, that's too bad. I don't see your expert here about all the damage.
So far.
I want you to tell me this other nonsense that I read in your complaint, that you, A, thought he was inappropriate with your daughter or granddaughter. Was it your daughter?
My daughter.
Your daughter, inappropriate. Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds. And made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good.
From a
So
robbery.
so she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about that?
Well, it was later after he was gone. She said, Mom, he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
Just a second. So, Mom, he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you still wanted him to come back?
No, I went on to Facebook.
Oh, good. And then you went on Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went on Facebook and did what?
I sent a notice out and said, has anyone ever done work for this Mr. Lewis? And I immediately got back 20, 30 hits. And they all said, buyer beware. He just got out of prison. And then they showed me what his charges were, and on and on.
And on and on. So I still don't know why you're here.
Well, because the damage to repair the whole vanity and sink, he ripped out the whole wall, all my baseboard to fix it.
You have no case. No, you don't. You don't have the person who fixed it here.
I had 3 people fix it.
I don't care if you had 12 people fix it. What you tried to do was to get something for nothing. You tried to get a $600 or an $800 job for $100. That's what you did. My problem is with his counterclaim, which I'm going to hear, because your case is dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli has accused handyman Matthew Lewis of owing for a refund, property damage, and locks.
Now, what I want to know, Mr. Lewis, is you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that she's spreading rumors around town, and these lies have a direct effect on my income. So there's no question that you're trying to work. I assume that it's true that you have history with the police of being incarcerated. I assume that that's all true.
Yes, it is.
When was the last time you were incarcerated?
I've spent 13 months in prison from April 2013 to 2014.
Since then?
I spent 1 night in for a probation violation because
For a probation violation since 2014. What else?
That's it. I did have a trouble past after my gunshot, and the reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest. I was only shot once, and I did fall into using drugs, and I got in a lot of trouble. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine. I have a very bad reputation.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee from a surgery?
I do not
I'm asking you a question.
No, there was no scar on her knee.
Did your daughter ever have surgery on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable. Did your daughter ever have surgery?
She has had surgery, but there's no scar there.
I'm asking you whether your daughter ever had surgery on her knee.
But there's no scar.
Show me your proof that she's been slandering you. Show me.
Well, she took out a restraining order against me to start off with. Then she had this posted here.
Can I see the restraining order?
And when I went to court for it, she didn't show up and got dismissed. Secondly, there was...
Just a second.
Okay. Yes, Your
I
Honor.
would like to see what allegations she's making with regard to the restraining order.
Oh, that's the 2 pages.
Just a second. This is outrageous. Why would anybody give you a temporary restraining order based upon this? Just a second. Well, let me see, because right now you can look at me with those big eyes all over. Miss Martinelli, let me tell you, he may be a convicted felon, but so far these are the following lies that you've told to me. A, you told me he dropped the box and it broke. He didn't drop the box. You never saw him drop the box. Then you went back to Home Depot and told them that it came cracked, and therefore they reissued you a new one because it was their fault. This man is not a mind reader. How would he know that your daughter had surgery on her knee unless she told him and showed him what she perceived to be a scar? Then you file a restraining order that I don't understand.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The contact was, the following has been done to the plaintiff on more than one occasion. Defendant knocked on neighbor's door to clean gutters. Neighbor did not recognize him, allowed him to complete the task. Defendant approached plaintiff and asked if I had worked gutters. Confirmed I did and permitted him to complete the job. Asked defendant if he knew how to remove and install bathroom vanities. Said he did. Had open container of alcohol in his hand at this point. Demanded cash up front, $100, 7 times with excuses why he couldn't do the job. Wanted more money.
That's correct.
Actually, Miss Martinelli, you are outrageous. I'm so glad that they dismissed your application for a protective order against him. So thrilled that they did that. So he has 2 causes of action. Money owed for filing a false restraining order because he had to go to work. He had to leave whatever he was doing to go to court. Did you show up for the protective
They told
order?
me I did not need to.
Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $800. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I mean, the texts, there were, what, 55 texts? I can't come, my dog threw up.
She posted all kinds of awful things about me, things of my past.
My grandma tripped. I mean, he always had an excuse.
There's 10 customers that I had. None of them are even contacting me or will return my calls at this point.
And then the phone calls where he would call me, several cussing me out names.
And once that was all brought to my attention, it kind of infuriated me, and I said, look, it's time for me to do something about this.
Frightened me. The policeman came over and said, you need to file a restraining order immediately.
I did have a past, but it didn't have anything to do with her hiring me for the work, and it wasn't my fault that the job didn't get complete.
And also a small claims, which is exactly what I did. I followed the policeman's report.
It's a small, so I go out of my way to try to help people.
I worry about other people he's going to take advantage of.
And do honest work for people, and that's what I was doing for her, and I feel that came back to kind of bite me.
How much did you pay her in total?
$1,540.
This car seller couldn't wait anymore.
I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am. The final $60. Literally.
Now, the judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales is suing Charlotte Hammerschmidt for the return of money she paid for a car and punitive damages for repossessing it.
Order. All rise. Case number 231 on the calendar in the matter of Scales versus Hammerschmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Hammerschmidt, you were selling a car.
Yes, batter and iron.
When had you purchased it?
July 3rd, year 2015.
And who did you purchase it from?
5 Stars Auto Sale in Mount Zion, Illinois.
Whose car was it?
Mine.
Do you have proof of that in the title?
I don't have the title, and I don't have the registration.
Why not?
Because when I sold it to Lexi, I gave her the registration and the insurance, so I went with the car.
So she has the title?
No.
Where is the title?
I don't have it. I already gave it away. I gave the car away.
Who's that?
my boyfriend.
Okay, so you bought the car July 3rd, 2015. And when did you put it up for sale?
February.
You bought the car for how much?
$34.
Did you and your boyfriend both drive the car?
No, I wasn't with him at the time.
What do you mean you weren't with him?
I wasn't with him when I bought the car, and he doesn't drive, so no, he does not drive.
Okay, good. So you bought it for $3,400 and you sold it to her for $1,600?
Yes.
Why?
Actually, the ad said $1,900, and when I met her, she, you know...
The ad said $1,900, but why in a 6-month period of time were you taking such a loss on the car? I don't understand.
Because I didn't want the car.
Why?
I just didn't want it. It was bad memories. I wanted to get rid of it.
Well, explain.
I bought it with somebody that I thought I was to be with for the rest of my life, and it didn't work out, so I just wanted to get rid of all my memories.
You wanted to get rid of all your memories of him in the car?
Everything. In my house, my car, everything.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay. Sorry.
What do you do for a living?
I'm disabled. I stay at home.
What's the nature of your disability?
Learning.
How long have you been on disability?
Since year 2012.
What did you do before 2012?
I worked at fast foods for a little bit.
And how much do you get from disability?
$734.
Where'd you get $3,400 to buy a car?
Pay here, buy here.
What does that mean?
You pay your payments at the car dealer.
Well, you didn't pay the car off in 6 months.
No.
That's for sure, that you didn't pay the car off for 6 months. So when you were selling Miss Scales the car, you hadn't paid it off.
Right.
Did
and
you?
she knew that.
Shh, just a second. So I assume, based upon what you just said to me, you told her that you had not paid off the car.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did she tell you was due on the car?
She told me that the down payment that I was paying her of $1,000, she was going to pay the car off. And then after my final $600, she would then turn the title over.
And she said, with that $1,000, she was going to pay the car off.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
What do you mean?
What do you do for a living?
Oh, right now, I don't work currently.
Who do you live with? What do you do?
My mom.
You live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm studying for my CNA. And I also have a 2-year-old daughter that I take care of every day.
You sound like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you.
You met this woman. You know, I wouldn't buy a bridge from her.
Right.
So why didn't you say, with my $1,000 deposit, let me take the $1,000 and I'll go in and pay off the car?
We actually went up there with her.
You did?
She was planning on buying another car, and she showed us the car that she was planning on looking at and planning on purchasing. And she said that unless she had our final $1,000, that she couldn't purchase that car.
Did you speak to anybody else other than her?
A man came out from the car dealership, and he was telling us about the car that we had purchased, and then more about the car that she was looking at purchasing.
So now you spoke with him. So why didn't you say, I'm going to give her $1,000? Does that pay off my car?
I do not know.
You don't know? Okay, now, how much did you pay her in total for the car? You gave her $1,000.
$1,540.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am. The final $60, literally.
You have proof of all the payments?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Do you want the screenshots as well as the timeline? I have messages screenshotted from her.
Sure.
Confirming the payments.
Okay, now, Ms. Hammerschmidt, when you repossessed the car, on what date did you repossess the car?
Early in the morning, June 27th.
Who repossessed it?
I did.
Personally?
Yes.
Who drove it?
She drove it over to my house, and I told Larry Bartley to take off my license plates.
You told the boyfriend who doesn't drive?
Right, to take off my license plates, because before all this, I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60, and when I got home that night, there was no $60 in the mailbox about 11 o'clock, 10:30.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
No, that doesn't answer my question. First of all, nobody gives away, especially you, nobody gives away a car. So I would like you to tell me exactly what happened to the car and with whom does the car now reside?
Mooney got it. I gave
What?
it to him. Mooney. I gave him the car.
Just a second. Stand up. What's your last name?
Bartley.
Move over. Who's Mooney?
Is my roommate.
Is your roommate?
Yeah.
And you're her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Where do you live? Do you all live together?
Yeah.
Okay. So
one time we did.
I didn't ask you a question. So you live with. Yeah, what do you do for a living?
Industrial construction worker.
Do you get paid in check or cash?
Check.
How long have you been working for the company whose name you'll give me?
About 2.5 months now.
Great. What's the name of the company?
High Tech,
Where are they located?
Decatur,
Decatur what, George?
Illinois.
Decatur, Illinois. Now, how long have you known Mr. Mooney?
About 20 years.
How long has Miss Hammerschmidt known Mr. Mooney?
I believe the same amount of time.
Well, how long have you been her boyfriend?
A year.
So you all knew each other before?
Yeah, from high school.
What does Mooney do?
He's a construction worker.
Now, she gets $700 a month to live on. He's a construction worker.
Yeah.
I want you to convince me that she gave him the car.
Yeah.
Convince me. Convince me. Now, Mooney, you've known him 20 years, correct?
Yeah.
Correct? Give me his phone number. Cell phone.
I don't know his cell phone number. I have to get it.
You have to get it?
Yeah.
Oh, get it. Get it and just put the phone down. And Bert, while they're doing this extensive investigation, would you please look up this 2004, see the number?
21793.
Put the phone down. Put the phone down, I said. Turn it off. Now, if I call Mr. Mooney, is he going to tell me you gave him the car or sold him the car?
I gave him the car.
For how much?
For $0.
Is the title now in his name?
Yes.
And when did you do that? In what month?
July. I kept it for 15 days after I took it back.
Okay. Close the phone.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
you went
to Florissant, Missouri, about 30 minutes away.
To live with a boyfriend?
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend?
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales says Charlotte Hammerschmidt illegally repossessed her car. Charlotte is countersuing for car damages and punitive damages for stress.
Thank you. Well, the very lucky Mr. Mooney has his answering machine on. He must be a very busy guy. Can you tell me what the blue book is on that car?
1550.
Well, he's not there, but I don't believe you anyway. Because if the value of the car is $1,550, you didn't give it to him. No way. Now, you put in $1,540 in this car? Any other money?
No.
How long did you have the car?
I had the car for 5 months.
What?
When she bought the car, it was $1,600 originally, and she put $1,000 down, and the other $600, and she was supposed to be paid off in May. 3 months, $200 a month.
But I have a
That's okay, just a second. All that was owing on the car was $60, which clearly, based upon these things, she wanted to give you. You didn't want it, you took back the car and gave it to Mr. Mooney. That's ridiculous. However, she drove the car for 5 months. And if I didn't think that you were a scam artist, I would actually take a lot more off. But I do think that you scammed her out of this money. Now, you drove the car for 5 months.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's some value to you in more than fair.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. You have some sort of ridiculous counterclaim. And since you get on with other people's money, I'm not even entertaining it. If the car was dirty, Mr. Mooney got himself a present of a dirty car. We're done. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Put up to pay her the final $60. She refused. Her and her husband were outside drinking.
She got stopped with my license plates and my insurance she already got.
I got out of the car to pay her.
Ticket in my car when I had insurance on it.
She had her husband, like, randomly just come into my car and start taking my license plates off.
You know, I could have gotten in trouble. My car could have got impounded.
She asked me for the keys. I'm like, well, I have the $60 right here. She's like, no, you need to find another way to go. You need to find another way home.
I'm just glad it's done and over with.
I didn't know what to do, and I was just on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
What are you laughing about?
Very glad, and glad I get my money.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Green versus Love. Step forward.
21-year-old Mariah Green is suing her former roommate, Mark Love, for the value of dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Ms. Green, you rented a room or part of a house from the defendant, and you claim that he kept some of your equipment when you left this rental room that was in his house.
Yes.
You're suing him for almost $5,000 as a result of him keeping your equipment. When did you move into his house?
I moved in April 22nd, 2016.
When did you move out?
I moved out July 6th, 2016.
So you lived there for less than a year.
Yes.
Did you have a rental agreement?
No, we did not. He insisted it wasn't necessary.
Just a second. Well, didn't you pay rent?
Yes, I paid $90 a week.
Just a second. Well, that's a rental agreement. Your rental agreement was, according to you, $90 a week. That's your rental agreement.
Right.
Okay. Did you pay your $90 a week in April?
Yes, when I moved in.
What about May?
Yes.
Every week in May? So
Every single week.
And in June?
Yes.
So you were totally caught up with your rent?
Yes.
Why did you leave on July 6th?
I left because business was not panning out in the little rural town of Illinois, and also I felt very uncomfortable.
Just a second. So you left because business wasn't panning out?
Yeah.
So where did you go?
I went to Florissant, Missouri.
Where do you live?
I live right on the other side of St. Louis.
You live in St. Louis, is that?
About 20 miles out, yes, ma'am.
And you went
to Florissant, Missouri, about 30 minutes away.
To live with whom?
To live with a former law enforcement, Jeff.
To live with a boyfriend?
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend?
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where you were supposed to do dog grooming?
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, so she had no access to the shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mariah Green says former roommate Mark Love owes for dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Now, were you living in his house?
Yes.
Who else lived in the house?
Nobody, just me and him.
Just the two of you. And how big a house was it?
It's a one-story with a basement.
And did you get there by car?
Yes.
Your car?
Yes,
or
I
his
own my
car?
car.
When you left, was Mr. Love at home?
No, but the majority of my...
Just a second. Mr. Love was not at home.
No.
And you left this equipment in shed where you were supposed to do dog grooming, is that right?
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
Okay.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house
What?
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, because I was at work and she had the key. So she had no access to the shed.
So you think I should give her this money?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. She's not losing any work.
No, just a second. Just a second. I'm not talking about her losing any work. She had no lost wages because she said she moved out of your house because business wasn't going the way she wanted it to go.
She had a job.
She volunteered the fact that the shed was locked.
I keep my shed locked because all my tools for work in there, my lawnmower's in there, everything else is in there. It's basically just a storage shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
She did not. She never used it. The day that she moved in, I helped her move her stuff into the shed, and that stuff never moved the entire time she lived there, nor did she ever use it at all. She didn't need it for work whatsoever.
Well, I was under the impression when I moved there...
I don't care what your impression was. You lived there for 3 months. Did you ever use the equipment?
He didn't set up the shed for me.
Oh, okay.
He said he would.
Great. You know what I think, actually? I think that you have to take this back to Missouri.
I don't think so. I can show you.
Just a second.
Yes.
I'm not buying the story.
I can prove to you that I have lost wages.
I'm not buying the story. Do you understand?
Yes.
All I want to do is for you to produce bills for any equipment that was in the storage shed, paid bills for equipment that was in the storage shed, because Mr. Love says that he disposed of the equipment.
Yes.
That's correct.
Just a second. All I want to do is see paid bills for the equipment.
I bought the table.
Just a second. I want to see where you paid for any of this stuff.
I paid for the tub and cash, Your Honor, and then that is the Amazon receipt of my table.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What stuff did you get rid of? A table?
A table, a dog bath, just big equipment that was taking up too much stuff and too much space in my shed. A shed that I have to get into every weekend. The reason I kept her stuff is because she moved out without my knowledge.
Just a second.
Yep.
She said she bought it for $100. That's what she said she got it for. She got it for $100. Okay. You had no right to dispose of her stuff. Next. Did she pay her rent?
No, the last week she did not.
Which week did she not pay rent?
July 8th, I believe it was.
She said she moved out on the 6th or the 7th.
Right. She stayed that whole week, and she always paid me at the end of the week.
Wrong.
Friday for the week that she stayed.
She moved out on the 6th of July.
She moved out on the 8th of July. Well, she moved out on the 6th. The 8th is when she owed me her rent, her final week's rent. And when she didn't pay it, that's when I didn't unlock the shed to get her stuff back.
You have to pay her $100, sir, $100 for, even though the new condition is $479. I don't know if I believe any of this, but $100 is nuisance value. You can't dispose of her property. You can't dispose of her property.
Well, what if she owes me rent?
And the table?
Just a sec. $100. Sir, if she owes you rent, you sue her. If she, listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You said in your papers that she didn't pay you the rent, so you wouldn't give her stuff, and you disposed of it.
I asked her to come get her stuff, and all she had to do was pay me the $90. I would have happily unlocked the shed to get her
That's
stuff.
my judgment, $100 for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Wait, Your Honor, I
Well done.
can prove that he has lost wages. I lost wages.
As our excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
How much did you owe him?
He told me $20. He got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot. He came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I reached in my closet in self-defense to grab my bat.
Judge Judy.
The line got crossed when she started texting other guys and
He's obsessed with me.
bringing them over to my house, the house that I was nice enough to lend her, a whole room to.
He's obsessed with me. He was trying to get me to stay there. He locked it in there, would not release my stuff to me.
And then she up and moved out, so I never even saw it coming, kind of got blindsided.
Like, was obsessed with me.
I'm about the fourth single guy that she's moved in with. She's basically a con artist.
And I told him I was uncomfortable. I said, please keep it strictly platonic. Please be just a normal, landlord.
She does this to guys. She moves in with them. She finds them off Craigslist. She dates them for a little while.
And he didn't. And then he started sabotaging my relationships with other men on my phone.
And then she up and leaves and expects to get a settlement out of it.
He went on my phone, got their number, and started texting them, pretending he was me.
Have you seen 21-year-olds with their phone? Might as well be glued to their face. There's no way I could touch it.
And then deleted the messages, and the guy would not talk to me to this day because of the things he said to them.
I'm actually pretty glad. $100, I can pay that just to get her stuff out of my shed and be done with this.
I'm gonna put a lock on my phone.
Oh, I'll never have another roommate again, that's for sure.
And I'm never getting a roommate off Craigslist again.
A heated topic divides a couple.
A friend of his that had been trying to hit on me.
I'm like, he can't automatically get your number out of nowhere. How'd he get it? How'd he call you?
Then did jealousy turn to violence?
When he grabbed me, he threw me to his left, and I hit the wall.
She hit me.
Where did she hit you?
On my face. And I was like, get out of here. Get out.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
Sheila Rogers is suing her ex-boyfriend, David Dobbs, for assault, medical expenses, and pain and suffering.
Order. All rise. This is case number 222 on the calendar in the matter of Rogers versus Dobbs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Dobbs, where do you live?
In Ontario, California.
And you live in Las Vegas?
Yes, ma'am.
This complaint alleges that in May of this year, Mr. Dobbs, you drove from California to Las Vegas, and you were in a motel or hotel. Is it
Yes.
hotel or motel?
Hotel.
What was the purpose of that visit?
I had a show out there in Vegas.
It wasn't to visit the plaintiff?
No, ma'am.
Were you still in a relationship in May?
Yes.
What kind of show did you have?
DJ dance, kind of entertainment show.
But you did let her know you were coming?
Yes.
To Las Vegas?
Yes.
And at some point in May, what was it, May 16th?
May 14th.
May 14th. You came to the hotel where he was staying. Had he invited you over to meet?
We had text with each other the earlier part of the day. Some of the texts turned a little sexual, but we agreed that I would come to the hotel where he was, and I went.
To visit him?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean somewhat? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Before he came, I had no thoughts of going to see him because normally I would get his rooms for him when he came to Las Vegas. But at this time, I did have him a room, but we got into it like a week before.
You got into what?
We had an argument.
That's what I'm trying to get at. So you had an argument a week before. Was that in person or over the phone?
It was basically over text messages.
And what was the argument about?
He texted me and asked me did I know of anywhere that he could work while he was out here, that he needed $1,800 and he didn't want to ask for it. And I told him I didn't know of a club, and I asked him what did he need it for. And he said, I just need it, and he wouldn't tell me what he needed it for. So I asked him again. He still wouldn't tell me. So I said, never mind. And he got an attitude about it. He told me he didn't need my attitude. He just needed to know if there was a place that he could work while he was out here.
And this was all in text messages?
Yes, ma'am.
So then he came out. You knew he was there, and you went to see him. So your relationship with him had cooled during that week?
It had cooled actually in January to February. We had started cooling off because I was getting tired, started backing away from him because of other women.
Fine. So tell me what happened on the 14th of May when you went to his hotel.
Well, I pulled up, I valet parked. He told me he was at the roulette table, so I went in. He was playing roulette, and I stood behind him. He turned around and saw me. He turned around, gave me a kiss. I guess he had made friends with another guy that was playing there, so he introduced me to the guy. I knew he had already been drinking all day, but I asked him if he wanted a drink. He said he did. I went to the bar, got him a double shot of Hennessy, got myself a drink. I went back to the table. He was still playing. When I got to the table, the cocktail waitress arrived there at the same time, so he had 2 drinks. He downed one, and he finished playing. We started to walk to the room. And on the way to the room, he drank the other one, put it down. There was a security guard at the elevators, so he showed the key. We went up to the room. We get in the room, and he turns on music. I went over to the window, and I was looking out the window. He asked me to pour him a drink because he had brought a big bottle of Captain Morgan with him from California, and he had been...
Prior to. He asked you to pour him another drink.
Right, and I did. He turned some music on. We were talking, and I started to have a conversation about a friend of his that had been trying to hit on me. And months before, I had sent him a screenshot of what the guy was saying, and I thought he would handle it, but he didn't.
Why would you think he would handle it, Miss Rogers?
Because that's what I was brought up that men do. If this is your friend, he shouldn't be coming at the person that you're dating. So I thought he would be...
know him. You thought he should know about it, that his friend...
Right. And I thought, you know, this supposedly is his friend, so you would do something about it. But he turned it back on me. So we were talking about it. So he said, I tell you what, I'm going to call this. And he called him. I don't want to say it here. He called him. I'm going to call him right now. He has an iPhone, so he FaceTimed him. The guy answered. So he proceeded to tell him what I had told him about he liked me and that it wasn't all about money. And the guy cut him off, and he said, I tell you what, I do, but you guys keep me out of what's going on between you. And he repeated himself and said it again. Keep me out of what's going on with my friend on Facebook, and I'm going to delete her number out of my phone. He said, keep me out of your business. And he hung up on him. When he hung up, that's when he changed. He said that, I don't care what he say, you're mine, and I'm your... And I said, I'm nobody's. Don't call me that. And he said that I'm your, and you're my. And I said, cute, but I don't like either of those words. I got up because I was sitting on the bed, farthest from the window. I started to walk over to him by the window. And before I got there, he grabbed me.
Why were you going over there?
I was going over to the window. He had the window open. I was just walking over to the window. But before I got there, he was standing there, and he grabbed me. And when he grabbed me, he threw me to his left, and there was a dresser/TV stand there, and I managed to catch myself like this, and I'm standing there like, what just happened? And I'm asking him, why did you do that? What's wrong with you? And I turned, and he was pretty much on me, so I pushed him in the chest backwards. He grabbed me again, and he threw me to his left again. This time I missed the desk and luggage rack right there. I have pictures of the suitcase, and I hit the wall in between the suitcase and the desk. When I hit that, I fell over on the suitcase and the luggage rack. We all fell to the floor.
Who all fell to the floor?
The suitcase, the luggage rack, and myself. And I managed to roll over in a sitting position, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, what just happened?
Okay,
why did he do this?
So what did you do next? He did it because, if I believe you, he did it because you've just told me that he had been drinking before you arrived.
Right.
You went and got him a double shot. He ordered another double shot, which he consumed. He asked for another drink when you got into the room.
Right.
So you're not dealing with someone who's rational. And not dealing with someone who's rational, you're telling them that a friend of his has put a hit on you, and you think that he should deal with it in his otherwise altered state.
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't permit anybody to put their hands on you, but that would be poor judgment.
Yes.
Right.
It would be.
And it was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He grabbed me again and slung me over on the bed. I said, he's really going to hurt me. So I went over and I grabbed my phone in the bathroom.
Why didn't you leave?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sheila Rogers says ex-boyfriend David Dobbs assaulted her in a Las Vegas hotel room.
Okay, I assume that you've told me honestly that you had one drink.
I had half of one drink. My drink was still pretty full.
So you had a clear mind, and you're dealing with a guy who's got a fuzzy mind.
Yes, ma'am.
If I believe you.
Yes.
He's going to tell me his own version of the story, which I haven't gotten to yet because he's been quiet.
Right.
Okay, make a long story short, then, based upon what I heard, you called the police.
Well...
Did you call the police or call security?
I called the police the first time.
Okay, so...
Once I got up, because when I got up off the floor, he was walking by to go to the bathroom, and he grabbed me again and slung me over on the bed. So I said, if he's really going to hurt me if I continue to let him do this. So I went over and I grabbed my phone, and I didn't know.
And he went to the bathroom?
He went in the bathroom.
Why didn't you leave?
Your Honor, I don't know. I honestly...
I'm just curious. Why didn't you leave?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I thought this was somebody that I loved, somebody that I knew. I couldn't understand why he went.
Okay, fine. So you called the police. The police arrived.
Yes.
And you were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were arrested on an outstanding warrant.
A warrant that I didn't know I had.
Okay. It was an outstanding warrant for what?
It was a 2009 unemployment, theft, and fraud they charged me with.
Okay. Was that case ever resolved?
It is being resolved.
Oh, so it hasn't been resolved, then I don't want to hear about it. Okay, so there's an outstanding warrant. You were arrested on that, and subsequently someone posted bail for you?
Yes.
Who did?
My daughter.
How old is your daughter?
She will be 34.
Okay. And what you want to be is compensated for the assault. That's what you're here for.
Well, it tore a ligament in my knee.
That's what you want?
Yes.
You want to be compensated for the assault? Okay. Because that matter was never pursued by the authorities in Las Vegas.
It wasn't pursued because Mr. Dobbs lied.
Okay. Well, I don't know that. Now, you've told me your story. He's going to tell me his story.
Okay.
Go.
How you doing, Miss Judy? On May 14th, when I was out there doing my show, yes, I was drinking. We had been drinking together. I have no idea what this one drink thing is. I'm sorry. I apologize.
14th, she says she arrived and you were at the casino table.
Right.
Is that true?
Yes.
And you finished at the casino table and you were going upstairs. Let's pick it up from there.
We're walking to the elevator together, drinking together. We get to the room, we're drinking together. Oh, Captain Morgan, let's have some fun. I turn on the music, everything's going all good. She goes, hey, your friend keep hitting on me. I'm like, well, he can't hit on you. He can't automatically get your number out of nowhere. How'd he get it? How'd he call you? I'm asking her questions like, you can't tell me things because this is my friend. He already told me this situation, but it's not the time to talk. Hey, just keep our business to us. And he'd never know nothing about that. That's all I say.
I don't understand. I don't understand what you just said.
Don't tell my friends anything about myself. Don't tell them about me. There's no reason you should talk to my friend about me, because you and him have no communication. For what? Why are you guys friends? That's my friend. That's not your friend. So how does he have your number? Why is he on your phone? That was the question.
Okay, so the question was how your friend got her phone number.
There you go.
Did she answer that question?
No. Just went around it. Never cared about it. Oh.
So I never answered your question. What happened next?
After that, I called him. Like, bro, what's going on? Oh, man, just keep my name out of it. I don't want to go through that. All right, fine. Hung up. Like, look, you my girl. I did say the... She like, oh, don't call me no... We're drunk. We're both intoxicated. Want to. Girl, you are tripping. Get out.
I don't understand what
she hit me.
Where did she hit you?
On my face.
Okay.
So when she walked over, hit me in the face, pushed her back like, you are tripping. Get out of here.
Well, Mr. Dobbs, did she hit you, or was she walking over to hit you?
No, she hit me. She walked over and hit me, because I'm at the table at a standstill. I'm at a table at the standstill where the drink is. So when she walked over, it was just a hit, and I was like, whoa, get out of here. Get out. I ain't leaving. Don't call me no...
Did she hit you with a closed fist or an open hand?
Open. It was open hand.
It was an open hand,
yes.
And she hit you in the face?
Yes.
So she slapped you?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
I just kept telling her to leave. Then I turned my phone on. I just wanted to record everything. Like, it sounded like it's going to be some tricky, something funny going on. And I was getting dressed. I was ready to go gamble. I'm not leaving. How you going to call me if you love me? Get out. Just leave. Just leave. All you got to do is get out of my room.
Okay. Next.
I go into the bathroom. She follows me to the bathroom. I'm still recording. Get out.
You have that recording?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to hear it.
Oh.
Where did you take that from?
All you got to do is push play.
You can see. How can you say you love me and you call me? How can you say you love me and you call me?
That's where she pushed me.
Don't touch me. Hey. That you love me. Call me. Don't touch me. Whatever you do, don't touch me. I don't care about none of that. Don't touch me. Thank you.
There's more.
That's why the whole world is different now with those things.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Rogers.
Yes.
First of all, he didn't look really drunk. You look more drunk than he did in this video.
I wasn't drunk.
You look more drunk than he does in this video.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sheila Rogers claims ex-boyfriend David Dobbs assaulted her in a Las Vegas hotel room.
Okay, so you followed him.
I have a recording also.
So you followed him. I'm going to see it, but you followed him into the bathroom.
I went into...
No, you followed him into the bathroom. That's what this is. You followed him into the bathroom, and then at some point, when he was recording what was going on, you went over to the phone, knocked over the phone, because that's what that shows. That's a little bit of a different story.
Well,
Now I'd like to see your video.
It's a recording. I actually went to the bathroom after I called the police. I didn't follow him directly to the bathroom.
Miss Rogers.
Yes.
First of all,
I understand what you're saying.
Well, good. I'm glad you understand what I'm saying. If you are afraid, as a matter of fact, he didn't look really drunk. You look more drunk than he did in this video.
I wasn't drunk.
Just, you look more drunk than he does in this video. He's washing his face. He says, I got to get ready. I got to go. Get out. Don't touch me. Get out. And you confronted him again, followed him around again, knocked over the phone that was recording. Now I want to see, you said you have your own recording. I'd like to see it.
It is more of a voice recording of us. There you go.
Like you an innocent guy, like you didn't do anything, you didn't start anything, you didn't push me. Why are you acting like that? Okay, if you gonna act like that, then we
That's where it stops. Judge, I have the full version of that. The full, with the video.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, please. That's, it started and stopped somewhere. I wanted the rest of it to play. That didn't even go how it's supposed to go. There you go. That's the 3-minute version. There you go. That's the full clip. I don't know what that was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm asking you a question. Why are you acting like this with me? Why are you acting like this for me?
Please, can you just
with me? Really? Why are you acting like this with me? Why are you acting like this? I ask you a question. You don't want to answer that on camera, huh?
I'll have to answer anything. Can you just leave?
Let me record my stuff too.
Please do.
Why are you acting like this?
Please, push record.
You all of a sudden start acting like there's some, like, I don't know, like you an innocent guy or anything. You didn't push me. Why are you acting like that?
If you can leave, now that's not.
Okay, if you're gonna act like that, then we don't. I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
But since you pushed me down on the floor, we're gonna make this official. How about that?
Do what you feel, Sheila.
Because that was unnecessary.
You slapping me on my face was necessary?
I didn't slap you in your face until you pushed me.
I did not push you.
You did too push me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, then we'll both go to jail tonight.
That's what I'm for. You're not worried, I'm not.
Got it. Case is dismissed. We're done.
Thank you. All are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Oh, it was perfect. It was great. I mean, video evidence never lies. Revenge. Revenge. Being married and unhappy. The truth. I like that. Let's go with the truth will set you free.
He let me eat some of his food, and
I did not give him the food. He stole it.
A landlord's list of grievances.
he got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot.
Then,
You and Mr. Horn had an altercation.
did he take a swing at solving it?
He came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
21-year-old Chase Adrian is suing his former landlord, 73-year-old William Tyler Horn, for the return of his security deposit and laptop and a false arrest.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 245 on the calendar in the matter of Adrian versus Horn.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Adrian, you were a tenant of Mr. Horn's for approximately 8 months, according to what I read in your complaint. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're suing him for a variety of things. Let's take first things first. First thing is that you had a security deposit that you left with him.
Yes.
And you want the security deposit refunded to you.
Yes.
How much was the security deposit?
$14.50.
Is that correct, Mr. Horn?
I believe so.
Okay. And when did you give him the $14.50? When did you start your tenant? Tell me the date.
23rd of November, 2015.
And you moved out on what date?
I moved out on June 21st, 2016.
Did Mr. Horn return any part of your security deposit?
No.
And you just rented a room from him?
Yes.
Is that correct? All right, Mr. Horn, we're going to deal with first things first. Security deposit. You agree that you did not return any part of Mr. Adrian's security deposit?
Correct.
Now you're going to tell me why.
Because the damage and the thefts that occurred when he was living in the house.
You don't get any credit for thefts that occurred when he was in the house that you didn't report to the police. Did you report any of the thefts to the police?
When they arrested him, yes.
No. During his tenancy?
No.
Fine. Forget thefts. I want to see the damage that you're claiming that he caused.
Okay.
When was that damage caused?
The day he moved out.
Did you punch these holes in the walls?
No, I did not.
Did anything that you do cause these holes in the doors?
The big hole was already there when we replaced the door, and the small hole, Mr. Horn punched.
Who replaced the door?
I did. I put it back myself.
You replaced the door on the hinges, and this was the door to your room?
Yes, there was a door. It was the door before this one was broken, so I just replaced that door with this door with the two holes.
Where did you get it from?
It was in the garage, an extra door in the garage.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What other damage did he cause?
You don't count stolen.
No,
correct?
you have to return his security deposits. So we have $1,450 so far. Now, the second part of your lawsuit is punitive damages for false arrest. I assume that sometime around the end of June when you moved out, you and Mr. Horn had an altercation.
Yes.
And as a result of that altercation, you were arrested.
That is correct.
No charges were ever filed against you.
No.
So you were released.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to tell me about what happened. Was that on June 21st?
This was on June 20th.
On the 20th. So tell me what happened on June 20th.
On the 20th, Mr. Horn and I got into an argument.
About what?
About money that I should have paid him for gas and for food.
Gas for what?
He was driving me to the beach so we could go on walks, and he was driving to Hollywood so he could go to a comedy show, and I wanted to go with him. But I didn't pay him for gas, and so...
Okay, so you were going to split the gas?
No, I was going to pay him full in gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much did you owe him?
He told me $20.
So he approached you about the gas money?
Yes.
And food?
Food. I ate some of his food. He let me eat some of his food, and part of that would be paying for the food.
Would be all in the $20?
Yes.
Okay. So he asked you for the $20. And what happened?
I got it, and he was upset. He didn't believe me.
How long had you owed him the $20?
About maybe 2.5 months. Because he was being generous and driving me without asking for the money, but it got so overwhelming that he finally asked for the money, and I agreed to give it to him.
Just $20?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you would owe it to him for months?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And after that, we got into a verbal argument because, like I said, he got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot. And so he punched the first hole in the door, and he was getting upset, and he kept pushing on the door, and I locked the door. I said, I want you to calm down first, and then I'll talk to you. But he was still getting upset, and then, he was hitting the door as hard as he could, and he finally broke it off its hinges. And he shoved me down where I hit the fan. I landed on the fan and it broke. And after that, I called the police. And the police came the first time, and they said, what's going on? I told them what happened. And they said, well, why don't...
Don't tell me what they said. Do you have a police report from that incident?
I do not.
Okay, so you called them the first time.
Yes.
And?
They told me...
You can't tell me what they told you. You went back into the house.
Yes, after they told me to,
You went back into the house?
Yes, back into the house.
And that was the 20th. Okay, what happened after you went back into the house?
After that, Mr. Horn went back into his room, and when he was in his room, and I wanted to, just apologize for yelling at him, but he was still upset, and I was still knocking on the door just saying, hey, I would like to apologize. I made a mistake. I just want to apologize.
You were yelling at him?
Yes, and he was upset, and he came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I ran back into my room because he was following me into my room. He was really upset. He had an angry face, and I went back into my room, and he was there with the bamboo stick, and I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat, okay? And I held it up. I didn't touch him with it. I held it up, he backed away, and at that point, I called the cops.
For a second time?
Yes.
So you called the police on both occasions?
Yes.
Okay, what happened when the police arrived?
The police arrived, and they handcuffed Tyler, and they sat me down on the driveway. They talked with him. I don't know what they were talking about. And then they came over to me, and they asked me what was going on. I told them what was happening. And they had enough evidence, I guess, to arrest me because Mr. Horn said that I hit him with the bat, which I did not hit him. I didn't touch him.
Did you tell the police that he hit you with the bat?
No, I did not.
What did you tell the police, Mr. Horn?
Told the police that he pulled a knife on me, which he did. His memory is very faulty.
Did you have a knife in your possession?
No, I did not.
During the course of the police placing you under a
pocket, but it was not out of my pocket.
So it was in your possession?
Yes.
The knife was in your possession?
Yes.
What kind of knife was it?
It was a small pocket knife. The blade was probably that big.
Okay. Do you have a police report? I'd like to see it. You don't have another police report where it's not all blacked out?
I tried to obtain one, but they,
you can return this.
the Attorney General in Torrance blots out the name of the perpetrator and not the victim, which is rather ironic to me.
They blocked out the name of the perpetrator because there were no charges filed against him.
Yeah, evidently.
Okay. Great. Mr. Adrian,
yes.
You're getting your security deposit back, $1,450. But clearly, unless he was psychic, he didn't know that you had a knife in your possession.
Yes.
If it was in your pocket. But the police found the knife when they placed you under arrest. And they did voucher the knife? Did they take the knife?
They did, yes.
Did they subsequently give it back to you when they released you the next day?
No. The arrest was not for the knife. It was for elderly abuse, which I did not hit him.
Now, the only other thing that I'm going to consider, I'm not considering punitive damages for false arrest. What I am considering is the laptop old laptop, sir?
Yes, it was a Windows Vista.
And did you, Mr. Adrian, at some point damage Mr. Horn's computer?
No, I did not.
Did you damage his keyboard and printer?
No.
Did you use his keyboard and printer?
The keyboard that he has, I gave that to him. It was a black keyboard that I gave to him along with a monitor that plugs into a laptop. And the printer, it was not broken. The ink cartridges just weren't working, so it looked as if it was broken.
How many laptops did you have when you left the house on June 21st?
Well, I had 0 because of the laptop that was still there.
So you didn't have a computer?
I had a laptop that I brought into the house when I first moved in.
And that was the one that you are claiming that Mr. Horn has?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Other than that laptop, you have no other laptop or no other computer?
No.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Horn. Explain the computer to me.
I saw him steal a laptop from underneath my living room table, as I also saw him steal my iPhone. I did not give him the food. He stole it.
Mr. Horn, let me tell you what your answer is.
That's it.
No, let me tell you what you swore to in your answer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
you have to have proof that
it's him, but he's dead.
Listen, I can perform magic, but even that's a little hard for me.
Well, yeah, but
if that's the proof, and he's dead, I can't resurrect him.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Chase Adrian says his former landlord, William Tyler Horn, won't return his security deposit and laptop. He also says William had him falsely arrested for an assault.
Now, you swore in your answer that Mr. Adrian gave you his old computer as payment for my broken equipment. Now you just tell me that he stole your computer.
And then gave me his.
Okay. You have to return his computer to him, and I will give you an order that you can go and get it in the company of a police officer. In addition to that, you get $1,450, which is your security deposit. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was a nice guy at first, but as the months went along,
I would drive him places and, and try to help him out. I bought him a dinner or two.
He was very crazy. He was yelling at himself and just acting very crazy.
And just nothing. He wouldn't clean.
He was mad that I didn't clean my room when he wanted it to be clean.
He wouldn't do anything around the house that he was required to do.
He was mad that I came back late and that I was not steal the iPhone.
Came home from a bike ride, saw him steal it and run down the driveway with it.
Because I already had a phone. He lost his iPhone.
I better know them better like I do the guy that's in there now.
Exactly. I have a dad, and he's not my dad.
Very glad he's gone.
I never want to see him again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Williams versus Robinson, step forward.
Joylyn Williams is suing her late boyfriend's wife, Brenda Robinson, for the return of a watch and a tablet.
Miss Williams, you had a boyfriend for, according to your complaint, about 8 years.
Yes.
And what was his name?
His name is Reggie.
What was his last name?
Reginald Harmon.
And he passed away when?
He passed away May the 7th.
Of this year?
Oh, yes, this year, sorry.
About a week before that, according to your complaint, you had spent the night with Mr. Harmon. And when you left your watch there and a writing tablet.
Yes.
And within the next couple of days, according to your complaint, Mr. Harmon became ill and was hospitalized.
Yes.
And he never recovered, nor did he return home. He died in the hospital.
Yes.
On what date?
Did he die
on the 7th?
Yes, the 7th.
He died on the 7th. And on what date had you last been to his house?
The last I was at his house, it was on the 30th, which is that Saturday.
Okay. Now, Miss Robinson, you claim that you and Mr. Harmon were married.
Yes, we are.
Well, you're not married anymore because he's dead.
Right.
And you did not live with him.
Not at all.
The last time that you lived with him was when?
Maybe 2006.
Were you notified that he was in the hospital?
I took him.
Tell me how that came about.
He came over to my house the day before and, you know, just talking, and he was seeing the kids, and then he said he didn't feel well. So he laid down, and later on, he left to go home. And then my daughter went with him, and then I stopped by to
How
pick
old is your daughter?
She's 15.
Go ahead.
And later, I went by to pick her up, and he came downstairs and asked me would I take him to the hospital.
So that's how you knew he was in the hospital?
Yes.
How many children do you and Mr. Harmon have?
2.
15-year-old daughter?
And a 13-year-old son.
And I assume you didn't know that? That's what you suggest.
Those is not his real kids, they step kids. Yes, I do know that. He told me that Brenda, my kid's mother. So, yes, he do have 3 foster kids by her.
Are these his biological children?
No, they're not.
Okay. Now, this is your complaint. Your complaint is that you believe Miss Robinson has your watch and the tablet.
And the tablet, yes. Because I left it there. I went to his...
I don't care.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As she pulled up in the car, she was bringing out this bag. And as she was proceeding to hand her the bag, Joy Lynn was like, that looked like my watch. And then she, I guess, confronted. She did say something about the watch.
What did Miss Robinson respond?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joylyn Williams is suing her late boyfriend's wife, Brenda Robinson, for the return of a watch and a tablet.
Now, you left them on the dresser. Do you have any proof that Miss Robinson has either, because she says she has neither the watch nor the tablet, is that correct?
I have never seen it.
Okay, that's what she says.
Okay.
Do you have any proof that she has either the watch or the tablet?
Yes, because she came into the adult center where he works at, which I go to the center. She had the watch on, and I asked her, that's my watch. She drove off and said, this is mine, that's my husband. But, Your Honor, I want to let you know...
Okay, now, just a second. When did that happen?
I'll say like the 3rd day, and him in the hospital.
Okay. Now, Miss Robinson, we're not talking about the tablet, we're talking about the watch.
Okay.
Do you recall a conversation that you had with Miss Williams about the watch?
Not at all.
More than one.
Not at all.
Was it... Tell me your name.
My name is Brenda Larry.
Were you present at the adult center?
Actually, we were sitting outside in the front of the Long Life Adult Care Center. She pulled up in a car. And as she pulled up in the car, she was bringing out this bag. And she had seen Joy Lynn. She proceeded to give her the bag. And as she was giving her...
Just a second. The defendant was giving Miss Williams a bag?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the bag contain?
No, I seen her and she wanted some pictures that they had. I put the pictures in the bag and gave
So
her.
that's what the bag contained. The bag contained pictures.
Yes.
Okay, so she handed her?
Yes, and as she was proceeding to hand her the bag and stuff, and Joy Lynn was like, that looked like my watch. And then she, I guess, confronted. She did say something about the watch. She got in her car and she sped off, and she drove off.
Did she say anything?
It's not my business to say anything.
No, did she say anything?
She said anything. What did she say to her?
She said, that looks like my watch. What did Miss Robinson respond?
I don't think she was there.
I don't think
Brenda wasn't there when I came to the car.
No.
When I came to the car, Brenda wasn't there. She said, this is mine, that's my husband's stuff. What's my husband is mine, and she drove off.
Yeah.
Burning rubber driving off, too. But these are the pictures she gave me. I couldn't bring it in. Some trying to be funny, some pornos, and a picture of a girl that's not even me. Yes.
I don't.
This is what she gave me.
May I see those?
And this is the tablet. Tell you about the tablet. How much I paid for it. Receipt.
Miss Robinson, where did you get this watch from?
I've never seen that watch. I didn't hand her no watch at all.
Well, what kind of watch do you wear?
I don't wear a watch.
Where did you get this watch from?
I bought the watch from a girl off the street, but she sell purses and watches and different stuff. I had got it from her.
When?
Christmas last year. And you know, this is my tablet.
How much? I don't care about the tablet. You have no proof that she has the tablet.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you have no proof she has the tablet. There were other people who had access to his apartment or his house. So you have to have proof that she has.
I have proof that I have pictures that her friends, and then was all at the house.
That's okay.
And they're showing that they went into the house.
Miss Williams, you have to have proof that she took your property. Now, I believe you when you say she was wearing your watch.
Excuse me, I told Reginald to bring he told me, yeah, but he had passed.
How much did you pay for the watch?
I paid $75 for the watch.
Do you have any proof that you paid $75 for the watch?
No, only proof I got is my tablet.
What kind of watch was it?
It was a Michael Kors watch.
And I assumed it was still running when you left it at Reggie's house.
Yeah, it was still ticking.
Anything else?
My tablet. Your Honor, she took my stuff. Brittany knows she took my stuff.
Miss Williams, I tried to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you once more.
Okay.
You have to have proof
dead.
that Miss Robinson took your property. That's the tablet.
Well, my proof was him, but he's dead. And the dead cannot talk.
I can't even, listen, I can perform magic, but even that's a little hard for me.
Well, yep, I wish you could.
If that's the proof and he's dead, I can't resurrect him. Yeah. Do you understand?
I wish you could.
But I believe she had your watch. And I don't know exactly how much you paid for it, but you say you paid $75 for it from somebody on the street. I'm awarding you the $75.
Okay, that's fine.
Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She should be paying child support.
An ex-wife comes up short.
She was paying regularly and then just stopped.
And the new wife has to have her say.
There had been a decline in her behavior.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to discuss that.
Judge Judy.
Well, I was kind of disappointed because he came.
Because I don't wear watches. My wrist is too little for watches. I don't wear watches.
If I get paid for the tablet, for the watch, why are they not going to pay me for the tablet? Both of them sitting in the same spot.
The situation at the hospital, you know, I'm done with it. I just rather not.
But like I said, the dead can't talk, so I don't have no evidence for as that, you know.
I mean, I didn't pay no attention. I ignored it.
Rest in peace, Reggie. I love you.
I'm having a good time down here, thanks.
That's a shame.
Her ex is quick to mouth off.
I loaned Chris $8,500.
I don't owe her any money.
Show me the emails.
But with his comments,
It's taken a long time.
I have nothing but time.
come back to bite him.
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim. Let's do it and talk fast.
If it wouldn't cut me off, I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sarah Wenzel is suing her ex-boyfriend, Christopher Wood, for a loan to buy a Harley-Davidson and for harassment.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 247 on the calendar in the matter of Wenzel versus Wood.
Thank you.
Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Wood, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? Because I see that you're here and you have no evidence in front of you. A little piece.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all you need. That must be for tinted windows.
An exhaust system. My countersuit.
Now, she has a whole bunch of papers. You have a whole bunch of papers there?
I do.
And your lawsuit claims that he owes you money for a loan that you took out for him for a motorcycle.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was at a time when, despite the fact that you're neighbors and you've been neighbors for a while, you briefly dated.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was during this time that you were dating that you allegedly took out this loan for him. You also have another part of your lawsuit for harassment, annoying behavior. I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. But what I want to know is, what proof do you have to show me that you actually took out a loan for him and gave him the money to buy this bike because he says he has never taken a dime from you?
Your Honor, I have text messages from the day that I was at the bank taking out the personal loan to loan him the money for the motorcycle.
For him?
For Chris.
For Chris. And Chris responded to you?
He did.
In text messages?
He did.
Okay, then stop. Now, she has that.
I'd like to see that.
I'm going to see it.
Awesome.
So, when did you give him money?
I loaned Chris the money on March 5th, 2015, in the amount of $8,500.
If you checked DMV records, would it indicate that there was a transfer of title to you for a motorcycle on or about the 5th of March, or the 7th of March, or the 10th of March, 2015?
No, Your Honor.
So you did not purchase a motorcycle in that year?
I've purchased 3 motorcycles in that year.
Year. When?
I purchased the last one a few weeks ago.
No, 2015.
Purchased one the middle of January.
January 2015?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Purchased another one probably 2 months after that, March.
That's what we're talking about,
Yeah,
March.
we're not talking about...
No, we're talking about March. So you did purchase one in March.
Yeah,
Good.
At the end of March is when
2015.
I purchased one. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now tell me the circumstances surrounding you taking out this loan for him.
I moved into the house that I live in February 1st, 2015. I'm 4 houses down from Chris. Chris and I struck up a friendship. We began hanging out, everything. We got along
very
great.
nice. Great. Hanging out.
He came to me the first week in March and said that he had found a motorcycle from a private party up near Sacramento, California. The person selling the bike was asking $7,500, and he said the bike was worth almost twice that much. He asked he could 4 months later.
From what?
He promised to pay me back the loan amount.
From what money?
From the loan. I took a loan out from the
I
bank.
understand. From what was he going to pay you back in 3 or 4 months? From his paycheck? Was he going to sell this motorcycle?
He told me that he was going to turn around and sell the bike for double what it was worth. He said $14,000. And
he didn't have the money?
He didn't have the money.
What do you do for a living?
I am a registered dental assistant.
Do you work for a dentist full-time?
I do.
Same dentist?
Yes, for 14 years.
And what do you do, Mr. Wood, for a living?
I'm a tattoo artist.
Do you have your own business or you work for someone else?
I work for somebody else.
For how long?
I've been a tattoo artist for 25 years.
I'm talking about the person that you're currently working for. How long have you been working for them?
2.5 years.
Are you paid by check or cash?
Cash. I get paid by check by my other job. I run a CNC machine.
You get paid in cash by the tattoo parlor that you work for.
Yes, sure.
How? Because I asked you how you supported yourself. You said I'm a tattoo artist. You didn't tell me about another job. How much do you make as a tattoo artist?
Depends on the piece.
Well, if you say that that's your living, how much do you make a week?
I don't know, maybe $600 a week.
And in your other job where you get paid by check, what kind of job is that?
I'm a setup technician on a CNC machine. I make aluminum rims, motorcycle parts.
And the name of...
I'm not sure what that has to do with this case, but okay.
How long have you worked for them?
For a year.
You work an 80-hour week?
No.
You work a 40-hour week?
25 hours a week.
So you're not a full-time employee?
Nope.
How much do you get paid from them?
Probably $400 a week.
Okay, so we're now in March 5th, 2015. He's got this great opportunity to buy a motorcycle. Tell me what you did.
That morning, I went to Coast Hills Federal Credit Union and applied for a personal loan in the amount of $8,500.
Why?
Chris had asked me...
Well, he asked you for $75. Why did you apply for $85?
He asked me to take out $8,500 so that he had an additional $1,000 to pay for the tax, license, and registration on the bike.
That's funny.
Okay. Keep going.
I did get approved for the loan for $8,500, and I met him afterwards with the cash. That evening, he drove up to Sacramento with Lauren to pick up the motorcycle. His
what?
His roommate.
His roommate?
Yes. And sent me pictures of the bike, promised to pay me, again, on time. Within 3 to 4 months, he would have the full amount paid off back to me in cash.
Show me. He says you never gave him any money.
I have text messages from that day.
Did you take this from your phone?
I did.
I'd like to see it on your phone.
Well, Your Honor, Chris broke my phone. He punched my phone, but this is the phone that has all the evidence.
Wow. I'd like to see it.
Okay.
No, I don't want to see it. I want you to get it up so I can read it.
I can't turn it on. It won't turn on.
Go figure.
When did he break your phone?
The following month, in April.
In 2015?
Yes.
So how did you manage to get these?
Shortly after I loaned him the motorcycle loan money,
How did you manage to get these?
I emailed them to myself. And I had concerns that I wasn't going to get paid back at that point. And one night I went through and I emailed some text messages to myself. And then shortly after, he broke
Show me the emails.
Those are, I have them.
No, I want to see them on a machine.
Do you want them on my, I can show you on my phone.
It's taking a long time to see.
I have nothing but time.
I do too. I'm having a good time down here, thanks.
That's a shame.
Well, not for me. It gets me out of town.
Your Honor, I have these on my phone, but I would have to go all the way through from...
I have time.
She just said she had plenty of time.
Sir, don't do that.
Your Honor, in regards to that, can I show you my text messages from her recently of her sending me pictures of herself? You know, she's saying all this stuff. Well, I mean, I got my stuff ready right here, so I don't have a huge stack of papers.
It's not your turn yet, Mr.
Okay.
Wood. You have to wait your turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
While she's looking for that, why don't you stand up here? I have a few questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you and Mr. Wood been roommates?
We've been roommates for, what, 3 years?
Don't look at him. Look at me. How long have you been roommates with Mr. Wood?
We have lived in this residence together for 3 years. Prior to that, we lived in another residence together for 6 years. I've known Mr. Wood for a long time.
And your relationship with him is strictly as a roommate?
It's been other things, but at the time, yes, we're roommates. And at the time that this happened, we.
I got it.
All right, good.
Okay, so you're on and off roommates, on and off social.
Correct.
Are you on social time now?
No.
Or roommate time now?
Roommate time for quite a while.
Do you remember going to pick up the motorcycle?
No.
In March?
No, I don't recall this.
Did you ever go and pick up a motorcycle with him?
Yeah, several times.
This motorcycle was where, Miss Wenzel?
Up near Sacramento, California.
Do you remember that?
Get a motorcycle, and we haven't been in a possession of a trailer for a long time. We normally buy local.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Shh. Do you have a car?
I have a car, yes.
And Mr. Wood not only buys motorcycles, but he rides them.
Correct.
So all you needed was a ride one way. You don't need a trailer because he could ride the motorcycle back.
Not necessarily, because sometimes they're not working.
Well, this one was working because it cost $7,500.
Okay, well.
So this one was working, and it was capable of being driven, because Mr. Wood's not a stupid man, is he?
Well, no.
So he wouldn't spend $7,500 on a non-working motorcycle.
I haven't. I haven't spent $7,500 on a...
Ever?
No. I buy Harley Dynas for $5 to $6 grand. I never exceed that because then I can't double my profit, so...
Okay, did we find anything yet?
I'm still, every time I go back, it brings me back up. I have them on here. I emailed them to myself. They're in here. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I would have saved them higher up here if I had known.
Yeah, because this is nothing.
Right.
Other than the emails, photographs that you took a photograph, a snapshot of your phone, is that what you did, and then emailed it to yourself?
Of my broken phone?
Of the text messages,
yes,
Miss Wenzel.
Your Honor.
Is that what you did? You took a photograph of your phone.
I screenshotted it and emailed it to myself.
And you did that because if it was on your phone?
Chris started exhibiting some aggressive behavior towards me, and by the time the first loan payment was due on April 19th of 2015, I called him 2 days prior on the 17th and asked him for the money, and he told me, now's not the time to be asking me for this. I don't have time for this. And my concern immediately was that he was not going to be paying me for the loan.
Okay, now I want you to tell me the date that he destroyed your phone, and then we're going to take a recess. And
He destroyed my phone around the middle of April 2015.
Tell me how.
My phone had gone off, and he picked it up and was reading a text message from a friend and got mad and punched it, and he was wearing a ring.
Which friend?
My friend Jesse.
Okay, we're going to take a break. You're going to go find it, and as soon as you find it, I'm going to come back. Good. Oh, great. Perfect. Just in the nick of time.
I'll star those for you. They're the starred ones right there. She just has to click on it.
I don't want to even touch it. I'm afraid I'll touch it and it'll go in. Who's Gleason?
My daughter's dad.
Iced. Would you have her get it back, please?
Your Honor, may I speak while we have a few moments?
Mm-hmm.
Having known Chris for so long, I know that he's a really resourceful person. If he would figure out a way to make that money.
Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
You figured out a very resourceful way of getting the money.
Why wouldn't she get a contract written out? I mean, that's what I would do.
Am I addressing you?
No, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You damaged my credit. You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. Okay, well, it certainly appears, sir, that you didn't like each other at some point. Okay. Now I'm going to hear what you have to say. Tell me who you are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Wenzel says, ex-boyfriend Christopher Wood owes for a loan and for harassment. Christopher is countersuing for window tinting and an exhaust system.
Now, $8,500, right? I'm applying for it right now. That's what I want to see. And he says, yes, babe. Hope he still has the bike. I want to see that on the
Yes,
machine.
I know my phone's thinking right now.
All I want to see is what this says on there. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor. I have copies of the payments for the loan during the last year and a half. More recently, I've had to call the local police department for Chris harassing me.
Let's not get into harassment.
Okay.
Let us get into loan. What other proof do you have other than this, which is some evidence that he was happy that you were getting $8,500 and he still hoped that they had the bike, and that was in March of 2015. Let me see what proof you have, if you have any, that he made the first few payments, because he did make payments.
He did, Your Honor. I have copies of the receipts from the bank, from the payments made, and the months that he paid me.
Just a second. Did he pay you or did he pay the bank?
He paid me in cash. And then I would go to the bank and make the payment. He refused to go to the bank and make the payment.
How much did he pay you in cash?
$2,800. He made 10 payments.
And what were the monthly payments?
$280.
When did he stop making the payments?
He stopped in December of 15, and then I did receive one payment from him, which is April of 2016. That was the last payment I received from him.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding that payment in April of 2016.
I just continued to call him and text him, and...
Well, that would be on the new phone.
Right, on my newer phone.
On your newer phone?
Right.
I'd like you to show me some of those texts.
Okay.
She texts me a bunch of times harassing me, and I've asked her numerous times to stop texting me.
Your Honor, may I introduce to you my witness?
No, I want you to do exactly what I want, which is to get me the recent texts after April of this year, or even before April when he made the last payment. It was a result of you constantly texting him and trying to get him to make a payment, and that you should have on your new phone.
Scrolling through all the naked pictures sent me.
I'm not looking at your phone, Mr. Wood. You have no cause of action that requires that I look at your phone.
You shouldn't.
So put it away.
I'm reading
Put it away.
Oh, okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
I paid to get her
Let's
windows
do it
tinted.
and talk fast.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it and talk fast.
That's all. Well, if it wouldn't cut me off, I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Wenzel has accused ex-boyfriend Christopher Wood of owing for a loan and harassment. Christopher has a countersuit for window tinting and an exhaust system.
Now, what I'm really interested in, Ms. Wood, since we have a question, is ever money was transferred from you to Mr. Wood. I understand that you took out a loan. What I want to see is him acknowledging, other than what I've seen so far, listen to me, I don't need it from you. I need it from him. Do you understand? So sit on your hands. Don't raise your hand again.
Exactly.
Got it? It would have been sometime in March if he paid you in April.
Your Honor, if you click on these are all regarding the loan.
Great. You show it to Bird. He knows how to click. I don't know how to click.
So just click on it and then you can arrow back. So the first one is from, you can just go through here.
Things were going so well. I'm not touching it.
Okay.
You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. I don't have a loan through you. I loaned you money, and in February and March, plus $6,500 you owe for the loan. You've damaged my credit. You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. Is there a thing here? I didn't loan you any money. Okay, well, it certainly appears, sir, that you didn't like each other at some point. Okay. Now I'm going to hear what you have to say. Tell me who you are.
My name's Chris. I witnessed Mr. Wood twice in the summer of 2015 come by our office. One time I was inside and I witnessed him hand her money out the driver's window of his pickup. She went right after that and told me she was running to make the loan payment. And I also witnessed him come into our office one day and she said, "Do you have my money for the loan payment?" And he said, "Later, afterwards."
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I've gone to her work numerous times. She gives me boxes of gloves at a wholesale cost.
Yeah,
I
oh,
pay
the
for
money.
gloves. No.
Mm.
Okay. I don't owe her any money.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah.
You owe the rest of the loan. Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
I paid to get her
Let's
windows
do it
tinted.
and talk fast.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it and talk fast.
That's all. Well, if you wouldn't cut me off, I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
If you didn't cut him off, maybe he'd talk fast.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
Wow.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Good move.
Judge on the next Judge Judy.
He became aggressive. He didn't want to contact me.
I stopped talking to her. She got mad. She got her feelings hurt.
He would block my cell phone number, my work number, my home number.
She got a 5-year-old that looked up to me. I didn't want anything to do with her.
He insisted on putting a muffler on my car so he could hear my vehicle as I would pull in and out of our cul-de-sac.
Brought in my evidence, but kind of bit the bullet at the end, so.
He would watch me from cameras inside his home, and he stalked me.
Should have kept my mouth closed towards the end.
He preyed upon me. He's that kind of person.
She's my neighbor. She rents, I own. She should move out.
I am just gonna stick to my gut feeling and move on.
I'm just glad it's done and over with.
You did the right thing by taking her to court. She should be paying child support.
An ex-wife comes up short.
How do you support yourself?
I just got laid off, so I am unemployed right now.
A dad grows impatient.
She was paying regularly, $20 here, $100 here. Everything just stopped.
When she lost her job.
No, she was still working.
And the new wife has to have her say.
There had been a decline in her behavior.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to discuss that.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland is suing his ex-wife, Denisha Copeland, for her share of their son's extracurricular activities and orthodontic bills.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 254 on the calendar in the matter of Copeland versus Copeland.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Copeland, the defendant is your former wife.
Yes.
You have 2 children, and according to what I read, you were divorced in 2006.
Yes.
How old are your children now?
My oldest one, Robert's 17, and Xavier's 14.
And when you divorced, Robert lived with you?
No, he was living with the grandmother. I was incarcerated.
When did Robert come to live with you?
December 2011.
And your other son?
Xavier, he moved in with me of May of last year.
Prior to that, was he living with his mother?
Yeah.
And in your divorce, was there any mention of child support?
No.
Were you incarcerated at the time of the divorce?
Yes.
Okay, so you divorced him while he was incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was the date of your release?
July of 2007.
Haven't been back?
Nope.
Good for you. Okay, this is what the case is about. I assume that neither one of you has, over the course of the last 10 years, paid child support to the other. Is that correct?
No.
Had child support to him?
No.
Each of you had 1 child living with you, and that sounded like a reasonable thing to do. You took care of your son's expenses, of Xavier's expenses, and you took care of Robert's expenses. Reasonable. But last year, Xavier decided he wanted to live with you. And they're both in high school. This is what the case is about, and have many extracurricular activities. And Xavier had some dental expenses.
Robert did.
Robert had some dental expenses. And according to you, your former wife agreed to split those expenses with you, because now you have both boys living with you. And that's what you're suing for, half of those expenses, which are a little over $2,000. I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Copeland. How do you support yourself?
I just got laid off. I was working at Save Mart. I was a clerical worker. I was there for 3 years, but they just closed that company down, so I am unemployed right now.
As of what date?
August 18th.
You receive unemployment insurance benefits?
I have not received it yet, so I'm waiting. But I will be getting it, and they said I will be getting like $3.99 a week, but I have not received it at all.
Who do you
yet.
live with?
I live by myself.
What's your rent?
My rent is $700 a month.
How'd you manage to pay your rent in September?
Well, I'm not going to have my apartment anymore, so I gave a 60-day notice. That I don't know yet.
You have an idea.
I think I'm probably going to share, rent a room from somebody because I do not have the money. I'm going to go back to school, so they're going to pay, EDD is going to pay for me to go to school, so.
Have you tried to find another job?
Well,
since August?
I'm going to go to school. The EDD is offering, since it was such a major layoff, they're offering to pay for us to go to school. So I want to go to learn how to take blood to be a phlebotomist. That's what I'm going to go into.
And how are you going to support yourself while you do that?
I'll get unemployment while I'm going to school. And the class that I want to take to be a phlebotomist is not very long. It's like a 4-month class before I could get my certificate. So that's what I plan on doing.
Did you discuss that with your former husband?
We really don't talk much.
Do you see both Xavier and Robert?
Yeah, I'm supposed to get them on the 2nd and 4th weekend of the month. Although usually when it's my time to see Robert, since he's 17, he has a job, he has a girlfriend, he usually has things to do, and so he doesn't come much.
And Xavier?
Xavier comes, he comes.
When did you have this conversation with Mrs. Copeland about sharing expenses? What month?
May of last year, when Xavier moved in with me.
So he was with you September of 2015, October of 2015,
all during the summer.
November, December, the entire. So you did have expenses. Tell me when you first asked Mrs. Copeland to pay any of those expenses.
As soon as they started arising.
Well, let me see. Do you have anything in writing?
It's all labeled. The pages are behind it. It's all the receipts.
No, I'm not looking for the receipts.
Oh.
I'm asking you when, Mr. Copeland, you first said to her, because then she was working in 2015, when you first said to her, I need to pay some of these expenses.
June 3rd, that's when she made the first payment. So that's basically when she's...
Your Honor, if I may approach the bench.
Just a second.
Okay.
See, at the very bottom, those are when she made the payments. She was paying, had a good communication. She was paying regularly, coming $20 here, $100 here, and then just stopped. Everything just stopped.
When did it stop?
That last payment, August 9th.
August of this year?
Yeah.
When she lost her job?
No, she was still working.
And she's currently working.
She's currently working right now.
Where?
Can I send more evidence right here?
Absolutely.
These are the screenshots where she's working. These are the ads she's working. And here's the screenshots just going up. So she's working. Just have her screenshot up. A lot of the days she's supposed to pick up the boys, those are the dates she's, just scroll up. Those are all the days she's been doing it. And that's how she's been supporting herself, I believe.
Could be. This is what I'm going to suggest that you do, Mr. Copeland. You see, what you're doing is you're coming to me, you and your former wife made an agreement instead of going to family court and saying, well, we each don't have a child living with us anymore. What we have is we have me taking care of both boys. So I need a formal order, or we can work it out. If you went to family court and got a formal order, if she was working, and she was working then, she would have had to have paid a certain amount of money to you for the support of both children. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You chose to deal with this in another way, independently, which is fine. And she was paying you bits of money, 20 here, 40 here, 100 here. But at this point, she's coming in and she's saying to me, I have no regular source of income. And if you were in family court, she would be making a request for the family court order of support to be suspended while she's unemployed, or take a certain amount of money from her unemployment insurance every week, which you would be entitled to. What kind of work do you do?
Maintenance worker.
You work for the same company?
No.
Explain that to me.
Prior to the beginning of the year, I was working the refab, off and on. So I got hired on as a maintenance worker at a bottling plant. So I full-time.
And you're remarried?
Yeah.
This is your wife?
Yes.
She works?
Yep.
You have any other children other than these two boys?
Yep.
How old are they?
7, 9, and 10.
And the 7, 10, and 9-year-olds are your biological
Just
children?
the youngest one.
Just the 7-year-old?
Yeah.
And the 9 and 10-year-old are yours from previous marriage, but you work?
Yes, I do work.
So it's very nice that you want to go to school, and I think it's probably a very wise idea. But you will be collecting unemployment, and this is the path that you chose. You have to pay him money out of your unemployment insurance every week. Well, how much do you intend to pay him?
I have no problem giving anything. Like, he's going after me for child support. I have to go to court on November. I just received that in the mail, too. So I'll be going to child support court on November 16th, I believe, I'm going to child support. Oh, yeah, 15th of November.
That will be taken care of? Yes.
I'm on a divorce. They said the child support was to be reserved. The child support I'm going after for November is, this is from stuff from behind us. The child support is a whole different thing. I'm just...
No, it isn't.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I certainly hope that the courts rely on you contributing to the support of your minor children. Going back to school is very nice, but you have children and you have a responsibility to them.
And later today,
you said you got pulled over and you got a ticket for having the baby in the wrong kind of a car restraint. You didn't say anything. It was your fault that brought the car's attention to the state trooper to begin with.
Yeah.
You left that out.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland says ex-wife Denisha Copeland owes for her share of their 17-year-old son's expenses.
Now, if she was paying you consistently until she lost her job, which your memo, which you prepared for this case, seems to indicate, and she was, in fact, contributing something until her circumstance changed, and that was well over a year, right? You're going to have to go to court and get an order of support. And you can ask the court to make it retroactive to a date in August.
Okay.
And they will fix what they deem to be a reasonable order retroactively. But I'm not getting involved with, I just bought Xavier a jacket and your portion of the jacket is $25. I mean, you did the right thing by taking her to court. She should be paying child support. Your wife has children. She works. She contributes to their support. Well, so don't approach the bench. You can stand there.
Okay, thank you.
No, there.
Okay, so the reason that we had started to document this and the reason that we are coming here today is because the payments were never consistent. Just to give you an example, Robert had his braces that were coming up. The down payment was $500. I had given her a 6-month period to make that payment, which we had never received a payment towards that in 6 months. So
why didn't you go back to court then?
Because there was never a court order.
But that's what you're doing now.
Well, yeah, so that's what happened. So the verbal agreement was working very well for us. We were having a very good open communication. We were receiving payments, okay? That is correct. 8 months ago, we noticed that there had been a decline in her behavior. We were doing things as a family prior to that. It came abruptly to a stop. Her behavior changed 8 months ago. 4 months ago, it was complete stop of making the payments and the communication. That's why we're here today, is because we are now dealing with financial responsibility of the braces, which was...
Is what you're really talking about, the braces? Because I'm telling you, I'm not getting involved in a jacket.
The braces? The braces, yes.
Fine. Then let's talk about the braces.
Okay.
Who are the braces for?
Robert.
Now, Robert was initially your responsibility.
Yeah.
He's lived with you. When did you have the discussion with your former wife about the braces for Robert?
January.
Or the braces?
Here, braces.
Mrs. Copeland, how much were the braces?
I believe they were like $2,000 and something, which I have medical. I have Kaiser for the next 3 months. Even though I got laid off, I still have medical. And my Kaiser paid for some of those braces.
Just a second.
But I think it's like $2,000, something
Just
like
a second.
that.
Were the braces $2,000?
$5,800.
I'd like to see it.
That's the additional cost.
Now, you had a discussion with her in January. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did any of her insurance cover any portion of the braces?
Yes, it did.
How much?
$1,200. It's right there on the paper.
I have insurance as well that covers them.
So it was a double insurance.
Yes.
Okay. So your out-of-pocket expenses were half of this $5,800.
Yes.
Did you make any payments whatsoever other than insurance?
I believe that I did come and bring Gary some money for the braces. I don't know if it was like when I made like the $100 and something payment, but it was something towards, I know I got it. They were like, it was supposed to be $67 something a month I was supposed to give them, and I did go and take Gary a payment.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You say she took the citation from me and reiterated that she would pay it, but it wasn't her to pay the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
What, am I talking to myself?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland says ex-wife Denisha Copeland owes for her share of their 17-year-old son's expenses.
Okay, let us say that she owes half of what the balance was, which was $2,400 after insurance, which would bring her portion down to $1,200. Did she make any payments towards the $1,200?
The one payment.
For?
$68 she gave me.
And that's what you remember? Okay. Your child support obligations are going to be fixed by a court in November. I certainly hope that the court sets an amount that's reasonable, but it should be consistent because they should be able to rely on you contributing to the support of your minor children, no different from if you were a guy who decided to go back to school. Going back to school is very nice, but you have children and you have a responsibility to them. I think that you did acknowledge that you agreed to pay for half of the unreimbursed dental costs for your son, because that's evidenced by the fact that you said, I did make a payment, right? Your portion was $1,200. If you made a $67 payment, the balance is $1,133, right?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that she made the right decision.
I'm happy with the decision.
I just think they're kind of money hungry right now.
For the kids, I go without and she don't.
When my kids turn 18, I don't have to deal with him anymore.
I'm happy with that.
Really choose who you have your kids with, because you have to deal with them for the rest of your life.
Do what's right for the kids and don't worry about the eggs.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Berry versus Russell. Step forward.
21-year-old Asia Berry is suing her former friend, 20-year-old Onisha Russell, for an unpaid traffic ticket and late fees.
Miss Berry, do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
And Miss Russell is a friend of yours. She does?
Yes.
She has one child?
One child.
A baby?
A baby.
How old?
She's 2 at the moment. No, actually 3 now.
Some time ago, you and Miss Russell were going someplace. Where were you going?
We was going to pay a deposit for an apartment we was getting ready to move into.
Did you ever move into that apartment together?
Yes.
How long did you live together?
About a good 3 months. I moved out because she's very controlling.
When you were going to make the deposit, according to you, Miss Russell put her baby in a baby seat in your car.
Yes.
So tell me, what did you use as a car seat?
It was like a little mini mouse, like a little high chair booster. It's like both. It's a high chair and a booster seat at the moment.
It's a high chair. What happened is you, for what?
For driving slow in a fast lane.
Did you get a ticket for that?
I did.
How much was the ticket?
I don't recall, Your Honor.
Did you pay the ticket?
Yes, along with her ticket.
Just a second. You paid your ticket?
Yes.
When did you pay your ticket?
The same time I paid the whole ticket.
No, that's not my question. When did you pay the ticket?
February 24, 2016.
When were you supposed to pay it?
30 days prior to the time.
So you had penalties?
Yeah.
A lot of penalties?
I did.
And all those penalties together added up to what amount?
$485, and I believe 63 cents.
Was that for both tickets?
Yes.
Okay. You got pulled over for driving too slow, but you also got a ticket for having her baby in the wrong kind of car seat.
Yes.
And that ticket was given to you
yes.
as the driver of the car.
Yes.
How many pieces of paper did the police officer give you?
1.
For both tickets?
Yeah.
So now you are going to explain to me why you're suing her for $948.
I'm suing her for that, for her unpaid ticket and late fees, but I also know half of those tickets belong to me.
I wouldn't have known that unless I asked you that question, because you didn't say anything about that in your complaint.
Yeah.
You said you got pulled over and you got a ticket for say anything. It was your fault that brought the car's attention to the state trooper to begin with.
Yeah.
You left that out. And you just told me that both tickets together with fines and penalties were $485.
Yeah.
And it was all on one ticket. So
yeah.
when you said here, and I may be wrong, you say she took the citation from me and reiterated that she would pay it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her ticket, it was your ticket.
Yeah. But she told me she would pay for her child's part of the ticket because it's her child.
Just a second. I'm talking about the whole ticket. You say she took the citation from me.
Yeah.
And said, well, you needed the citation to pay the ticket. What, am I talking to myself?
No.
Where's the $985?
With the late fees I paid.
Show me. I thought you said it was $485.
Here's the $485 I paid for the late fees. And here is the ticket I paid for St. John Parish.
I don't know if these are two different amounts.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com.
Now, I don't know what this is for. They're both on the date of the notice is February 24th, 2016.
That's the papers the DMV gave me.
Okay. I can't help you. Not only can I help you, I don't want to help you. The reason that the car was pulled over is because you were not driving properly. You also, as the owner of the car, are responsible to see to it that a child who was in your car is in an appropriate seat.
But she's the mother. I assume she strapped her down securely. I don't have no children, Your Honor.
Well, if you're going to take a child in your car, you better know what kind of car seat you're required to have.
You're right.
Good, because I have no idea what her portion of the ticket is, nor do you, because there was one ticket.
Yeah.
Do you have any indication of what her portion of the ticket is?
No.
Good. Makes my job so much easier. Thank you. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I feel she should be responsible of her child.
I think it was very fair because at the end of the day, she should have came with the correct paperwork.
And she should have put her in the proper car seat.
It was her fault.
Very terrible. I no longer deal with her.
I don't care about her. It's a done deal. I'm done.
The Fender Bender.
She was cutting right in front of me.
I was already in the left-hand lane when she came up behind me.
It's the accident.
I was right there, yes.
You want to tell me who's telling me the truth?
But will she get damaged in the process?
The defendant is the blue vehicle. I was behind her.
She's lying.
Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't speak.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
25-year-old Karen Terrazone is suing fellow motorist Pamela Salazar for causing an accident when she cut her off.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 267 on the calendar in the matter of Terrazone versus Salazar.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
This is an automobile accident case, and each of you claim that the other is responsible for the accident. The accident happened, Ms. Terrazone, on what date?
April 25th of this year, 6:30 p.m.
What kind of car were you driving?
2001 Jetta Volkswagen, black.
When had you purchased it?
Around 2008.
And at the time of the accident, did you have full coverage, and with what company?
I did not have full coverage.
Did you have liability?
Yes, liability coverage.
With what company?
USA.
A 2003 Chevy Tahoe,
When had you purchased it?
approximately 6 months previous to the accident.
How much did you pay for it?
$2,500?
Was that the total cost of it?
Yes.
Did you pay for it in cash?
Yes.
At the time of the accident, did you have liability coverage?
I did not. My insurance had lapsed the day before.
Which is why we're here. Because if your insurance hadn't lapsed, your insurance would have taken care of.
Correct. My policy was being rewritten and the...
Whatever. But if your policy wasn't being rewritten, we wouldn't be here today because your insurance would have covered the accident and would have paid for her damage. Is that correct?
Probably.
Probably.
They might have found fault with her, though.
Probably not. You want to tell me what happened?
Yes, I was out of my commute from work.
Show me where.
In this diagram here, I was turning left here, and I had a green light. She was in the next lane next to me, right here. She had a red light. So she was at a complete stop. I had the right of way. I was turning left, and she bolted right in front of me, giving me no reaction time to brake, and we hit right on the side here, not bumper to bumper, but to the side. So my right...
So she was going around you?
She was cutting right in front of me to make the green light.
No, ma'am. I was already in the left-hand lane when she came up behind me.
If you were already in the left-hand lane, then...
Just a second. Just a second. Now you go over.
Okay, the plaintiff's witness was not in this location. She was actually in front of my vehicle. She's in a small vehicle.
Why don't you tell me where your car was?
Okay, I was in this lane already. There's an island that comes out right here. I was in this lane right here. She was not behind me. The witness was in front of me, and I was here. I had the green. As I approached the arrow, it turned yellow. I decided to wait for the next light, and all of a sudden, she slammed into the back of me.
Okay.
It was not in the back of me.
I'm going to dismiss your case if you do it again. Do you understand?
Yes.
PW, plaintiff's witness. You were in a different car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your last name.
Goss.
Had you ever met Miss Terrazone before April 25th?
No, I did not.
And you don't know the defendant?
I don't know any of them.
You got involved because you witnessed the accident?
I was right there, yes.
You want to tell me who's telling me the truth?
Yes.
Your Honor, I am the yellow vehicle, and the defendant is the blue vehicle.
She's lying. I don't want you to speak. Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't speak.
I have insurance right now, ma'am. I had 1 day with no insurance.
Just a second. Do you know how many cases that I do with people who went 1 day without insurance and just happened to get into an entire sweeps period in November with people who just had a lapsed policy, it was being rewritten, the stamp fell off the envelope, all kinds of other things. So let's be quiet. Go.
We were stopped at a red light, as you can see. The light had turned green for the left turn. The cars had started to go, and the cars in these lanes are stopped, and the car that was in front of me, which is the defendant, had turned in front of the car that is plaintiff, and she hit and landed on top of the island that is right there.
Who landed on top of the island?
I did. The plaintiff.
Did you follow these? Because I understand from both people that they tried to move the cars out of the way.
Continued to stay there, pulled up closer to her because they now are even further in front of me. So when I pulled up closer to her and I looked at her to see if she was okay because she was shaken up in her car, they both had gotten out, but it's a very busy intersection. So we then said, is anyone injured? Nobody was injured. Everyone said everyone was fine. We then decided to try and get out of the lanes of traffic.
And you just gave her your information, your contact information. That's how you get here.
I did give her my information, and I did give her my information.
Okay, great. Were you in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You were in the car with whom?
My mother.
Go over there.
Yes, ma'am. I actually got out of the car when all of this happened with my mother to exchange information. And when we got out, we came over here, and the witness was actually in front of us.
So you're in the left-hand lane already, then?
Shh. Don't. You're not following me. Do you understand?
Yes. Sorry.
When you got out of the car,
yes, ma'am.
The witnesses, Miss Goss, her car moved.
Yeah, yes. And she was in front of us when the accident happened, and I was actually the one that got her number from her, and her name, it's in my phone, and she told me that she was in front of us when she saw the accident, and I even then asked her, like, how could she have been in front of us and seen the accident if we're in a Tahoe and she was in a smaller car, and she was in a smaller car, too.
You still didn't tell me how the accident happened. We're not questioning this witness.
Okay.
Because you claim that your mother was not at fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Right.
Well, then I want you to stand back there now, because I gave you a chance over there at that poster. I want you to tell me where you were going.
Home.
On what street do you live?
55th Street West.
And you were going home from where?
My mom was at work.
And where were you?
I was at work with her.
Do you work together?
No, ma'am.
So you had gone to her place of business?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you do that often, meet her at work to drive home?
Yes, ma'am.
How often?
Once a month.
Why?
She does nails, and she does my nails, and I get my nails done about once a month.
So you were going home?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where 55th Street West is? This street, where is it in relation to 55th Street West, Miss Goss?
Probably 5 miles north, or west, I should say.
5 miles west?
West. We were heading west.
I was turning left on 20th Street West.
You were turning?
Heading south.
Yeah.
You were heading south?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is a reason for the defendant to change lanes to make a left turn. Yes?
We lived just off M, and we were on J. So we were turning.
So there's a reason for you to turn left?
Yes, ma'am.
That's so wonderful. That makes it so wonderful. So there was a reason for you to turn left, and if there was a reason for you to turn left, can you explain to me why you were in a lane that was supposed to go straight? Don't speak.
We were in a lane that was supposed to turn left. We were already in the left-hand turn lane when the accident happened.
Now go over there and show me where you were. Now go over there and show me where you were.
All the cars are a little forward. We were more back here. We were about here, kind of turns like this.
Right.
For the left-hand turn lane. And so we were right about here.
You were behind the plaintiff. Is that what you're saying?
No, we were, where she is here. But in real life, we were in front of her.
Just a second.
All these cars are pushed forward a little bit.
That's fine.
So
all the cars
all of them this way.
All the cars are pushed forward.
Right.
Were you in front of her or behind her?
In front.
You were in front of her.
Yes.
So now I want you to explain to me how you had an accident if you were in front of her. Come on.
Okay, so we were in front of her, and we were already in the left-hand turn lane, and she came, and she, like, honked at us and hit us and bounced off and landed on the island. And she literally bounced off, like I felt it. And I had time to turn around after she bounced off before I got out of the car. And I turned around and I saw her, like, on the island through the back window.
So I still don't understand how, if she was behind you.
Right.
I don't understand how the accident happened.
I have a picture, Your Honor, of the...
What part of be quiet don't you understand? I don't understand how the accident happened.
I don't understand either.
Good, very good. Okay. The accident happened and it all would have been resolved if your mother had insurance like she should have had.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was throwing wood chips at me, and then I took the hat off his head, and then I put it...
Okay, so you took the hat off his head and put it in the...
trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Terrazone says fellow motorist Pamela Salazar cut her off in a left turn lane. Pamela is countersuing for her damages.
Now, can I have a bill for the car, please? Is the car working now?
No.
Is it totaled?
Wouldn't say total, it just needs the repairs, and then it would be working fine. Because where the impact happened is the car has a turbo in it. So where it happened was on the side of the car, on the right fender, and that's where the turbo cooler happened to be. So it...
Would you check and see what the value of the 2001 Jetta is?
I also have an estimate for my counterclaim.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
We don't reward people who drive around without insurance.
$25.50.
Okay, I mean, you can buy one that probably has lower mileage for less, but...
But my car was paid off, Your Honor.
I understand that.
So
I understand it was greater than the amount of replacement.
Right.
$21.47 is what your estimate is. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'm a little disappointed because the plaintiff was lying and her witness lied, so I hope they can live with themselves and sleep at night.
She was definitely lying, and it's pretty sad that her mom was allowing her daughter to lie for her.
About the location of the car and how the accident happened.
I'm very disappointed for a mother to be here with her child and to encourage that behavior.
Slow down.
Drive safe.
Always have insurance.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Glenn versus Harrison. Step forward.
Marty Glenn is suing the mother of her son's former schoolmate, Catherine Harrison, for the cost of damaged glasses.
I'd like the gentleman to come up
Okay,
and
stand
stand
up,
next to
gentlemen.
their moms. And actually, their moms are not necessary parties for me because neither one of you were there in school when this incident happened. Is that correct?
Correct.
What's your first name?
My first name is Parker.
And yours?
Jordan.
Now, Parker and Jordan used to be friends. They're 13 years old?
Yes.
And they've been friends for how long, Parker?
I would say about 6 months, 4 months.
From school?
From school, yeah.
Okay. And there was an incident in school when you guys were playing around. Now,
So I was sitting on top of the slide, talking to my friends during PE because we had free time, able to do whatever we wanted. So while I was talking to my friends, Parker came by and he picked up a handful of wood chips and then threw them at me.
Wood chips?
Yes.
Is that what's on the floor of the playground?
Yes. Then he threw them at me. I told him to stop. Then he picked up another handful, threw them at me. And then I came down from the slide, walked up to him, told him to stop. He grabbed my hat and buried it in the trash.
Were you saying anything to each other?
No, I told him, all I did was tell him to stop.
You hadn't had any argument with him that day?
No.
Just playing around?
Well, the first time he threw it, I thought he was, and then he threw it again, and I started getting agitated. And then he buried my hat in the trash.
Who else was around you?
A couple of my friends.
Did your friends say anything to Parker?
At first they laughed, and then they saw me go down there, and they started to back me up and tell them to stop.
We're just going to stop you right there. Let's get to March 3rd. He's on top of the slide. What's happening?
Okay, so what happened was I was messing around with him, and so...
Okay, now, messing around means something.
Yeah.
It means different things to different people. To grown-up, messing around means something different from what it means to a 13-year-old. I want you to tell me exactly on top of the slide.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said to me, "Do you want to fight?" So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of like just nudged him away from me.
Show me what a nudge is. Would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Marty Glenn says her son's former schoolmate, 13-year-old Jordan Bernal, purposely broke her son's glasses.
I want you to tell me exactly what you did when Jordan was sitting on top of the slide.
Well, we were poking fun at each other.
Tell me.
So I was throwing some wood chips at him, and then
So you threw some wood chips at him while he was sitting on top of the slide. And then what did he do?
And then he came down the slide, and then he started throwing wood chips at me.
So he threw them back at you, and?
And then I was down on the ground. Oh, and then so I took the hat off his head, and then I put it...
Okay, so you took the hat. Next thing, you reached over, took the hat off his head, and put it in the...
trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then I walked away from the area. I walked out of the playground area into like the field, like the playground's over here and then the field's over there.
When he started to get mad, as you were putting in his hat in the garbage.
Yes.
He was saying to you, stop it.
Well...
He wasn't encouraging you to do it.
No, he got mad after I put the hat in the trash because I didn't see him start to get mad only after he
Well, you grabbed the hat off of his head, and what did you immediately do with it when you grabbed it off his head?
Well, I ran around with it.
Okay, so you grabbed it off his head, and then you ran around with it.
Yeah.
For how many minutes?
It was about just like 30 seconds or so.
And he was chasing you
around,
trying to get his hat back.
Yeah.
And then you stuffed it in the garbage.
Well, I set it on top of the garbage. I didn't really like stuff it, I just put it on top.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then I came back, because I thought it was going to be time to go in soon.
Okay, so you walked away after you put his hat in the garbage, then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
How much time elapsed?
I'm going to say 5 to 10 minutes.
And he didn't follow you?
No.
Nor did his friends follow you?
Mm-hmm.
They did not?
They didn't.
And then you came back and did what?
And then I came back to talk to see that another kid stuffed the hat back into the trash.
And then?
And then he started to get really mad, and then he said to me, "Do you want to fight?" So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of just nudged him away from me.
How does a nudge? Give me show me what a nudge is. Bird, would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to show me how you touched him.
Oh, I was kind of like that.
Okay, so he was coming over to you,
Yeah.
and you said to him, "You want to fight?"
Well, no, he said to me, "Do you want to
fight?" And you pushed him. And then?
And then he took the glasses off my face, and then he just tore them and then smashed them. He threw them on the ground, and then he exited the area towards the door to where the campus is. So I came to pick up my glasses and get my backpack, which is where the door was, to tell the principal. But then when I came to get my backpack, he started throwing punches.
Just a second. So you want Mrs. Harrison to pay for the glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not happening. Tell him to get a job and pay for his own glasses.
Why would that be?
That would be because he was the aggressor. That would be because he was the aggressor.
But a hat is not permanent damage compared to...
That would be because, well, if somebody put my hat in the garbage, I would not put it on my head again. And he was the aggressor to begin with. He was the initial aggressor and kept it going. And he was a bully who got his comeuppance. You pay for his glasses and tell him not to be a bully. We're done. Okay.
These are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This is
actually the first I've heard of that side of the story.
I don't think the kids should have started the fight in the first place.
It was never told to me in the police report that way, so I am shocked.
He got what he deserved, so.
I do not think it was a matter of bullying. I think that it was a matter of two children playing around and joking with each other.
Honestly, I mean, I think the kids learned a valuable lesson.
And one got too angry compared to the other one. The other one tried to stop.
If you're friends, don't treat each other badly between each other.
I didn't think of him as that kind of...
Wood chips, it wouldn't have started, and I still would have been there talking to my friends.
Something like that is